making pot pie.
Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news? Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up all the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's new.
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spirit at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. If you have not had a chance to beat, what happened to, didn't we just do this and it was right?
Yes, it was.
And then, gosh, Lord, look at this. Olivia and Matt are dyslexia.
There we go.
Dyslexia for cure fan.
Hi, Olivia. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you're what a great pair of attitude you have. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We were so excited because everything was going to work just perfectly. And of course, this is the way it works. Welcome. Good to have everybody here. We're doing something a little bit different tonight, something new. I've been trying to find a way for the live show to be informative, but also to, I don't know, be innovative in the way that it's put together. And I think some shows do it very well. Tim Pool is one of them. I think Tim has a very clean, regimentated show. And it really steps to a certain cadence. I think Rogan does an amazing job. When you're looking at like a solo type of show where it's just you and the viewer, I really like Justin Barclay from iHeartRadio, who sits in for Glenn Beck. Sometimes he's a fan of the show, and you should go watch his stuff. He does a great job. Just real solid, very Rush-like. It's great. He's a great guy, and I love his stuff. And anyway, so want to try to find something that was a little bit more copacetic, because it's really easy when you're all inside of a room, right? It's like having Leroy here and like if we had all five of us together, that would be ideal. But unfortunately, we're, even though it doesn't feel like it and it doesn't sound like it, we're hundreds of miles apart. So it's kind of difficult sometimes to get on the same page or sit in a room and do a pre-show. But I think we're starting to hit our stride. So I wanted to bring something a little bit different. And I think with your feedback, I think we can dial it in and make it pretty solid. So let's go ahead, Leroy.
Oh, nothing. I was just acting for the camera.
You just that's great.
Just
did you want to sign
mine
autographs now? Or
I will say this right before.
Dude, right into it. I guess I was supposed to. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Leroy Jenkins.
Right before the show, I was messaging a gentleman by the name of Anthony Davis.
No, I didn't do that.
You guys, you obviously are, and you need to stop.
I didn't do that.
Leroy, go ahead.
Right before the show, I was messaging a gentleman who goes, his name is Anthony Davis. He's a professor, and he has a little bit of a media following. He has put out several videos on the economy and inflation and things like that. The man is brilliant. I've followed him for years, but this is the first time I've ever actually reached out to say, hey, you know what, man, I really love your content. And so turns out he responded back to me, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
You know what, dude, if you're ever have a night off and, have 20 minutes to spare, we'd love to have you on the show just so we can talk about how the economy works, this kind of thing. So for any of the dummies who are watching, again, the gentleman's name is Anthony Davis. Go ahead and follow his page, give him a like, and then also tell him who sent you, because I'd love for him to come on the show at some point.
Yeah. Well, there's two.
Antony? No H?
Anthony, yeah.
Antony.
Antony Davis, Davies.
There's another guy who
IES Davies. Okay.
Yeah, let's get him, and that name sounds familiar. And then there's another gentleman who I've been working with, and he sent me a couple of comics, and he was one of the creators of Punisher.
Oh wow!
And he's comic book, but he's also extremely political, and he has his own books, and he got canceled by the left, and I'm trying to get him on this week, and I'm going to see if we can get him on Friday night. I need to sit down and really give his books a once over again, and he's a fan of the show, and I just said, you want to come on? And he was on another show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this show he was on didn't do it justice. So I really want to bring him on. And then we have a listener who I've been mentioning a few times. I'm not mentioning any names right now because I don't want to put any pressure on anybody, but I'm trying to figure out how I want her to come on. She's transitioning male to female.
Yeah.
And, somebody who I've kind of defended upon occasion on the forum where people are being really rude, and she trolls a little bit, but I thought it'd be good to bring her on, and this is the one who called me a grifter and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I don't even think you know what that word means. Let's take some time. Why don't you come on the show? I think you'd be a good asset to it, and I think that at least flipped a switch on her of like, oh wow, it's amazing when you actually try to be a little human with people how they respond. So anyway, right. Thoughts on DeSantis falling apart weeks into the campaign? I don't know what that means. What do you mean falling apart? So, I don't know.
Hey, is this it, Leroy?
He can't see that.
The screen is too bright for me to...
Oh, gosh darn it. Okay.
Yeah, you're going to have to just turn the brightness down. That's all you got to do.
I'll take a screen grab of it and send it to you later.
Okay, yeah, because I want to make sure I'm doing the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, anybody that's on here saying, hey, how are you? Would you please send me money? Those people need to go away.
Hey, I have a PSA.
Oh, you do have a PSA. I forgot about this.
Yes.
So please tell everybody. Yeah.
I do. Actually, if anyone here plays Diablo, please join our clan.
That's right. So it's the Dumb Show.
It's the Dumb Show.
it's the Dumb Show.
Yep.
And then you can see in the description, it'll say thedumbshow.com. But Brianna
Is Matt's
Jacob.
weapon of choice a fuck sword by chance?
The fuck sword. The fuck sword.
The fuck sword.
Brianna.
No, that's only in the
Brianna
morning.
Jacob needs to be banned. Somebody boot her, please.
Brianna Jacob.
Hi. How are you? Could you please
I'm Brianna.
message me? Hi.
I'm a huge fan, and I
Hi.
love walking
Oh my
on
God.
the beach and bobbing
Listen,
for apples.
I don't mean to like offend you, but your posts are always so good, and I was just wondering if you would message me so I could get your social security or credit card and like totally pretend like I'm gonna come and like mail order you and then take all your money and then like disappear because I'm like a 47-year-old fucking Filipino guy. Yeah, lady, we're onto your shit. Someone ban her, please. My gosh. Those people leave me alone. They hit me up on Instagram. We want to pay you $4,000 a week for 2 ads. And I'm like, then you're an idiot because you're not going to get any dividend on return. Your return on investment is going to be 0. Because I'm telling you right now, you give me $4,000 a week for 2 ads. I promise you're not going to sell a damn thing. And that's just me being honest. There's just no way. Now there's some. It's not like okay. It's like PFC flags. We oh by the way PFC Olivia first of all. Olivia, welcome to the show. Olivia, here you go. There's Olivia.
Welcome to the show, Olivia.
Yeah, remember we created this new thing to make it more streamlined. This isn't streamlined. This is a freaking
You're all
cluster.
over the place tonight.
This is a cluster. Oh, Olivia's here. My name is Matthew Spear. I'm the host of Don't Unfriend Me. It's wonderful to have you here. We founded this little shindig, almost 3 years, and we just are about ready to hit episode 500, which will be fine. Tonight's show is brought to you by PFC, Percival Flag Company out here in Virginia. In fact, I could throw a rock at their house. Behind us, you'll see wooden flags. They are made by PFC. They're amazing. all made in America, American wood, American product, and red, white, and blue. Go over to pfcflags.com and take a look, please, if you would do that. All right, let's get to this. I want to show you guys a little bit of what I was talking about with the live show. But by the way, if you're on Diablo, Xbox, PS4, it's cross-platform. Just go ahead and look for the Dumb Show. Just join. Send us an invite. You can join. Love to play with you. We really don't talk online, but we'll level and we'll do some hardcore playing, stuff like that. Okay, so this is... Brianna says, you really looking good tonight, Matthew Spirit. Brianna, I'm always looking good. So that's like saying water is wet and the sky is blue, sister. So
Wow.
not sure what you're trying
You
to
got
say.
some balls on you, Brianna.
Does she? You have balls on her? Oh, that's...
Well, to
I
be
don't know
hitting on you in front of your wife.
She's not hitting. He's not hitting on me.
He's not hitting on you.
He's not hitting on me. And if he is, he couldn't handle me. He got a little Barry Manilow on a back
What's
rub.
the weather like in Dubai,
That's
Brianna?
If it is a real person, then I feel bad because
Bangkok.
I think now I feel bad. I think Brianna might be a real person. I feel horrible. You keep
Those
complimenting
two
me. You
different
can stay.
words there, Olivia.
Just nobody give Brianna any money. Tammy, thanks for buying something from us. That's nice. Tammy, holy crap,
Yeah, I just
Tammy.
saw the order.
Did you just get paid? Holy jeez. Thank you for that sale.
Appreciate that.
If anybody wants to borrow some money, Tammy's your person. Good for you. Thanks, Tammy. We appreciate it. Thanks for the help. If you haven't went over to the Dumb Show, you can go there, buy some cool shirts and hats, coffee, all that type of stuff at thedumbshow.com. So let me show you this. I'm really excited about this. I think this is something that's going to really kind of revolutionize the show after this stupid coffee ad gets off of here. 1, 2, 3, and good night. Thank you. So here's what this is. I want everyone to kind of be able to take a look at it, understand what it is and how this works. This gives us an opportunity to put the show in a little bit of a new light, and it gives us the opportunity to be a little more organized. So when we want to have topics, I can now drop web links and photographs and videos and all of that all the way into this. If you can, I'll unban her tonight, Amy, and we'll see if she's a troll. So this gives us the ability to go in. So for instance, like, this is about the Canadian wildfires. So if I want to click on this right now, I can just click and it immediately goes to the website and we can take a look at what is going on.
Yeah, that's
but
slick.
What's that?
I said that's slick. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. More importantly, we can, you want to take a look at some of the Canadian wildfire photos. And we don't want to do all of this right now, but I can go through and do that with you. And all videos will be here. So there's no more like trying to find and transition. We can stay on topic, talk from here, and then jump out to the bigger screen when we want to have the conversation. And then we want to get a little more granular. We can jump on in. Chris Palin says, Olivia, you're hot at Matt, LOL. Yeah, Chris, but you have to be a little smarter than your average bear and spell UR correctly. YOUR doesn't turn Olivia on because...
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Just so you know, my dad and brother's names are Chris. So
yeah, you're out of it, dude.
well, weird.
You're out of it, dude. It's not going to happen. Just let go. All right, so let's run this a little bit. Let's give this some example. So we're just going to go ahead and kick back and get back to the full screen mode. So obviously the Canadian wildfires. This is something that's been going on in the papers. It's all over the East Coast. This is pretty serious in the sense that this is large, right? I mean, this is literally being seen all over the eastern seaboard. Washington is completely covered in smoke. Delaware, New York, et cetera, et cetera. So it's obviously a pretty big thing. Now, the East Coast usually doesn't see this because we have the cold pressure system that comes down, and usually the high pressure system pushes up from Mexico, Texas, but not necessarily from Florida. We don't usually see these massive smoke billows coming down the eastern seaboard, but that's the way that this wind is, and it's pretty serious. So going into our new platform here, so everyone can kind of take part in this and see, kind of we'll go through. Canadian wildfires pour smoke into a U.S. heavy haze, creates Martian-like scene in New York City.
Yes.
I haven't seen the photos.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it really is. We're looking at completely ghost red.
I'm sorry, this medicine isn't covered
And
by your
we're gonna get an ad.
insurance.
This is lovely.
I decide
This is
which
lovely.
medicines you
Let's
can
see. I
get.
forgot
Wait, you're
about
not my
this.
doctor.
How about
That's
if I
right.
do that? Nope, I
Pharmacy
didn't do it.
benefit
So
manager.
wow. I forgot this program blacks out the ads, so you can't see it. But the one drawback is you can't go ahead and stop it either. Watching the segment, continuing to pour smoke along the East Coast, United States, New York City. Canadian officials have reached out to other countries to help fight the more than 400 fires across the country that have displaced 20,000 people. 20,000 people. We're used to seeing this in California. Shaping up to be the nation's worst wildfire season ever. Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, and I was just going to say, I mean, I'm not that far. I mean, I'm in southern Ohio, and we've had the worst haze. When you go out in the morning, you can smell. It smells like a wildfire right now. If I go outside, the haze is terrible. And even when this first started, I didn't think about this. We went up to Cleveland last weekend, and it wasn't nearly as bad there. And I think you're right, Matt. It has something to do with the jet stream. It's weird that it was.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry. We're on a air quality alert here.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah, so Amy's not going to be in the picture on the 4x, so I apologize. But that was one thing we didn't get fixed. But either way, you're talking, Eric Adams, as always, is doing what, he always does. Health and emergency management officials warned everyone to remain indoors. We had to cancel the baseball game, the World Series baseball game for our local, I guess it would just be county series. But anyway,
Little league, yeah.
As haze and smoke, Canadian wildfires continue to spread, much of New York State is expected to experience unhealthy air quality. This isn't unhealthy air quality. I mean, this is like if you want to know what fire and brimstone looks like, this is it. We've got a few photos here that kind of put it in perspective, kind of help tell the tale.
Look at that.
Look at the DC. I mean, that was earlier at like 10:30 this morning, and now it's just completely orange and it's whited out. I mean, this looks like Los Angeles on any given day. But this is relatively clear. This was this morning. But you can see now that's later afternoon. I mean, look at this, man. This is horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is dangerous, especially to older people. I put up a meme that was pretty simple, and it just said, Eric Adams is recommending we wear masks to flatten the curve of the fire. So
That's funny. Yeah,
ouch.
the kids had to stay in school inside all day, couldn't go out to recess. Hayden said one of her classmates had an asthma attack.
Yeah,
It's pretty bad.
It's bad for everybody, and it's not just one thing like this. I don't know why this is so messed up. Hold on a second, I forgot. It's not just the fact that it impacts your breathing and your lungs, which Olivia's had a cold, and I can feel it in my lungs. But you're looking at air filters, air filtration at home, AC. Right. I mean, this isn't good. This is horrible for flight, horrible for engines, helicopters, pretty much anything that has an air intake or an exhaust. This is not good. So really, I just think there's not much we can do about this, but there's people who are taking advantage of this, right? They're going, oh, well, there's fire, so therefore we have to look at global warming as the cause. And this is the problem. This happens. I don't know if people truly understand how many times the earth has burnt from top to bottom over and over and over and recycled, just like your own skin. You shed your skin on your body several times a year, and the earth does this too. Forests die, lightning strikes happen, and it ultimately does what it's meant to do, which is burn. And this is the cycle of life, and the carbon that's created from that creates richer soil, and therefore you get life and you start over again. But of course, fires have happened. Fires happen in California every single year. They've been happening every year since I was a boy. And they happen in Canada. They happen everywhere else. And yes, this is going to be a big one. And yes, we understand that. But this is also a very strange, strange where the cold weather system is actually going up further north. And you have this amazing heat index and dry air forcing this in Canada. It's going to create, especially in densely populated boreal forests, an opportunity for fire. And this is just one of those anomalies. Now, is it simply because of global warming? I think that's a stretch. Let's watch this video, you guys. This is one of your favorite people from Gen Z. Harry Sisson is back, and he wants to send you a message, and then we're going to be talking about this.
Sisson.
Yeah, Pisson.
So you got to say it in a French accent.
Harry Pisson.
Yes.
Harry Pisson.
There you go.
All right, here it is real quick. Take a listen and enjoy this because they're always so fun.
So I'm in the state of New York right now, and if you haven't seen the news, forest fires in Canada are blowing smoke and ash down into New York and other surrounding states, and the sky is literally orange right now. Like, it's 2 p.m. and the sky looks like this all over New York City, the suburbs, everywhere across the state of New York. And it just goes to show you that our environment is important. And if we continue down this path of not caring about our environment and not caring about climate change, this will become the reality for a lot more people.
He's adorable, isn't he?
What?
Isn't he cute?
An ass.
Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay, Olivia, let's
What
go.
an ass.
Okay.
Using people getting houses burned down and nowhere to live to make money? What an ass. Just,
That's all you got. You got to have more than that.
my brain isn't working tonight.
Well, the thing about this to me is that this guy he's an opportunist. This guy obviously is a paid shill. Everyone knows he's a paid shill. The DNC has him down for almost $500,000. Him and his lover in disguise, friend who's just like him. I mean, they're identical. And you know, this is what they do. And this is what a grifter is. This is what a paid shill looks like. And even though Democrats love that's their favorite word and they want to go ahead and throw that around, this is what we get. What do you expect him to say? But I love how he's like, it's 2 p.m. and it's literally orange. What, is it supposed to be orange at 5 p.m.? Is it supposed to be orange at 9 p.m.? Is it only at the pink moment when the sun sets? Well, what are you talking about, dude? This happens because there's a fire. And if you live in California, why aren't you so outraged about that? Why? This is Canada. It's Canada. It's not even the United States. What do you want to do? Do you want to go overthrow Canada? You want to go? Let's go fight Canada. Let's go kick Canada's ass, and let's let them take care of their forests. Go ahead, Leroy.
Well, he doesn't really actually have a legitimate point, right? And this is just another case of let no crisis go to waste when you live on the left. So this is one of those, you can see the messaging coming down the pike. He's not that very far from it. He's basically saying, look, if we don't take care of the environment now, then you could see that the next step, because he's advocated for bigger government programs before, you know, he would be one of the first in line to say, no, look, everybody should be driving an electric car, or everybody should be doing this, or everybody should be doing that. That's what the left loves to do, is to tell us how to tell the rest of the world really how to live. And the interesting thing about that is, Matt, you brought up California. For years, California had a program where they would cut down dead trees and they would clear away a lot of that brush. And it was to prevent fires.
That's correct.
And
called backburning.
Greens got backburning. Exactly. So the Greens got a hold of that movement, said, you know, oh, we're not going to do that anymore. Why would we cut down more trees? We need the trees. Right. And so the moment that happened, their fires spiked. They ended up having twice as many fires in a year. And so this is just another case of, you know, government failing to do their job. And I'm not saying Canada. I'm talking specifically about California here.
No, I'm saying California. I'm saying Canada failed. No, they did, but what they hold on a second. Just they failed to see the future. They failed to, in their crystal ball, to look and say, we're going to have a very different shift in the winds. The cold pressure system isn't going to come down like it usually does. The Chinooks are not going to push like they usually do, and we're going to have a very hard heat index that moves up in a heat push from the south into Canadian territory and create unseasonably warm temperatures and drier conditions. And let's not forget that the polar tilt we're tilting, which means the climate will shift. Leroy, did anyone notice that California got more rain than it's seen in like 50 years? That it was flooding, it was raining all day, every day for months. Well, this is the 7-year drought.
No, I just assumed God was smiting them.
Well, wouldn't that be lovely? I mean, earthquakes, floods, and you know, David Hasselhoff living there. But I think what we have to consider is that if climate's going to shift, and our axis is going to turn, whether it's a degree or 2 degrees off polar center, that means that the winds will change. That means that what normally is hot near the equator will slightly shift, and whatever's south is now a little closer north, and whatever's north is a little closer south, and you'll see a change. And that's truly what climate change is. That climate change happens every day. It's been happening since the dawn of time. What they're talking about is man-made climate change. This is the problem. And I'm not who blamed Canada. What I'm trying to say, didn't you hear me? We should invade Canada to take these people out. Right. I understand it's the same policies in California. You guys got the biggest douchebag on the planet who is about as woke as they come, who believes that, backburning isn't the way to go, censoring people, taking their bank accounts, stomping them with horses, shutting down the truck, bank accounts. I mean, wants to ban all weapons. I mean, he sounds like Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden had a baby. I'm not defending the policies in Canada, but what I'm saying is that just like in Texas, who has great policies with regards to energy, they didn't expect this cold wave that came through in the winter that shut down their windmills, shut down their pipes, and literally took lives. It was unexpected, and you could sit here and prepare for that and spend billions of dollars into your margin, but ultimately it's a freak occurrence, and this is too, unless these policies continue. Livia, your thoughts? Right. You've lived in Montana. You lived around a bunch of trees.
Well, Montana really didn't have many forest fires when I was there.
Thanks, Liv.
But we did live in Colorado during the Hayman fire and the fires of 2000.
Yes, we did. Tell them about. Go ahead, explain that story. That's a good story to share.
Yeah, that was fun. So it was June of 2000, and my day off, sleeping in, not doing much, get a phone call from Matt's parents, and they're being evacuated out of their house because there's a fire that's like right next to it. So it's 45 minutes away.
You need to describe where they lived.
They live up in Pine, Colorado, which beautiful forest, trees. I mean, it's a gorgeous area of Colorado. Their house was 45 minutes away, and we got there in 25 minutes. And then they wouldn't let us go down the road to the house. So we had to basically Matt was like, I'm going in no matter what, if you let me to or not. So the cop actually drove us in. And
he followed me down there.
And we went up to the house and loaded up the cats and, family heirlooms and stuff. And then right before we were about to leave, Matt goes, I'm staying with my dad. I was like, what? Oh, God, It sucked. So I'm sitting there. I'm driving the car with Matt's mom in the seat, and she's like having a massive meltdown. And we're driving up to the main road, and I look, and like 10 feet away from me, there's a wall of flames, like 100 feet high, just on the opposite side of the road. It was insane. And we sat in a Safeway parking lot for hours waiting for the boys to come. And then finally we realized they're not coming. So we went back down to our apartment, and I realized I left my keys in our car. So we had to call a locksmith at like 1 a.m. It was insane. It was just crazy. And then Matt can tell you all about his experience because he stayed there and fought the fire.
My God.
It was
insane.
My dad's was a fire captain. So of course, he's Mr. G.I. Joe. And he's like, I'm staying. And he's got a shovel and a fire jacket. And I said, you're not equipped to fight this thing. This thing is it's going to be 100,000, 200,000 acre fire. It is going to burn this entire mountain. There are propane tanks. We have 1,000-gallon propane tank above ground. And literally, as we're having this conversation, there's hundreds of homes on these hills, and you see these 1,000-pound propane tanks shoot up 2,000-3,000 feet in the air. 2,000 or 3,000 feet in the air, taking off and fire. They're freaking rockets, and they're blowing up. And then when they come back down, they explode. I'm like, Dad, one of these and we're done. And we have a well. Power is going to go out. These lines are not underground; they're above ground. It's all going to get melted, and we're trapped. And he's like, "Well, we can always back down to the lake." I'm like, "The lake's 1.5 miles away. You're not going to run a fire." I'm like, "You're a fireman. How do you not understand this? When convection happens, we're screwed." And so 5 o'clock hit, and we're out there with binoculars, and we're looking at the property, and we're seeing spot fires. We'd run down, grab a shovel, pour dirt on it, but it's all pine needle. It's all bed. There hadn't been a fire there in 50 years. This thing went up like a Roman candle. And God forbid, around 3 a.m, air conditioning's off. There's no power. It's hotter than hell. It's like at least 100 because you just got these fire. I mean, and the whole freaking, we're surrounded by fire. I mean, the entire crown is on fire. This is, dude, if you want to know what it felt like to be in Hades and hell, this was it. And around 3 a.m, all of a sudden, man, the entire house shakes. And the best way to describe it was that there was an avalanche. So we go outside and everything's covered with red slurry. The entire house is just dripping red slurry from the C-130s flying over, dropping, and they hit our house. And I'm like, Dad, it's time to go. I said, they just put fire retardant around a quarter of a mile around this property. It's not going to go up. I mean, you could have a blowtorch on this house and it's not going to light. We're leaving. And he's like, oh, you don't understand fire dynamics like I do. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? My 6 months of DC on a ship, I know enough. So we're leaving. And he finally listened. And then as soon as we got to my apartment, he went back up there like a stubborn ass.
And then they kicked him back down. They wouldn't let him back
They
in.
wouldn't let him back in. He's like, I'm a fireman. He's like, your son already got that card. You're not coming back down. So either way, the house stood. It's fine. House is selling for a big money. But the point is that this happens and people flip out. People are like, well, some people started the fire and they're being arrested. Well, that's happened in California too. This is not new. This happens all over the world. It's not new. It's tragic. It sucks. But can we stop pretending that this is some sort of apocalyptic ending event? Leroy, I know you've been trying to talk. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, it sounded like your old man. It reminded me of the movie that I just saw. It wasn't that long. It was a couple years ago, called Only the Brave. And it was about those firemen who go out into the middle of the forest and literally fight a fire with no water, with just pickaxes and everything else.
That was it. That's all we had.
Those are the kind of guys that have, balls of rock, because there's no way I could do that. Something else that while you were talking, I went ahead and looked it up. It said that this particular fire was in fact started by a lightning strike. And then I went ahead and looked up the deforestation policy in Canada. Seems like they're doing their job, actually, but I didn't know this. Today, Canada has 348 million hectaacres of forest land and represents 9% of the world's forest cover. I didn't know that.
Well,
that's interesting.
But the boreal forest, I mean, most of the oxygen in North and South America is produced by Canada. Surprisingly, I mean, these are giant. If you've never been up into these forests, they're ridiculous. I mean, it's nothing but dense vegetation, swamp area, tundra area, and it's insane in Canada. And living in Canada, as far as a survival situation. Good night, buddy. Hold on one sec. Love you, bud. Good night. Is damn near impossible depending on what time of the year it is. But once again, deforestation only happens in certain provinces and certain counties. There's some that are very liberal. There's some that have, strict policy against this and want it to be more, just close the door this much, son. Hey, this much. And
thanks, bud.
Yeah, so it depends where you live. It's like if you want to go and look at in Idaho and you want to look at Montana, who have strict policies on how to handle vegetation that's dead or not alive anymore. And if you want to actually go and look at Washington, Oregon, and California, they're diametrically opposed because of Greenpeace and their stupid policies. But this is what it is. I mean, any party that supports abortion and the genocide of an entire generation of African Americans, multiple generations, we should know that they don't necessarily do what's best for the people. The thing about liberals is they get an idea and they just hold on to it no matter how bad or how stupid or how many times it's been proven wrong. And they continue to just do it repeatedly ad nauseum until forever.
You know what's interesting? I wonder to what extent Justin Trudeau will take this crisis and use it to make bigger, better, huger,
bigger
government policy. Something that will, something that so that he can, in fact, put a little more of the government power in his office.
Right.
Just a thought.
It's typical. It's just bad policy that continues to even be. It's like Biden came out today and said, hey, but taxes aren't going to go up except for everyone who's making more than $400,000. It's already a lie. It's already a lie. My tax, I paid more in taxes this year than I paid last year, and I haven't even filed yet. I automatically know by what was deducted from my dollars that it's already more money. And I know this because of inflation.
Right.
And I also, of course, I'm paying more money. Of course, I'm paying more in taxes because food's more expensive and gas is more expensive and energy is more expensive and wood's more expensive and lubricant is more expensive. All right, folks, let's get to the rest. So that's it. That's our first segment. Wanted to go ahead and talk to you about that. Harry Pisson, if you have not seen Harry Pisson, you can go ahead and go see him over on Twitter. And the guy is a joke, an absolute freaking joke. Something fun Olivia wanted to tell us about. Olivia, why don't you start us off on Dunkin' Donuts, one of Olivia's old favorite coffees, something she
absolutely love it.
Absolutely,
I don't drink it
absolutely
anymore.
loved it. So tell us what the hell's going on at Dunkin' Donuts? What happened here?
I saw this video the other day. I just thought it was so cute, but I don't remember what state it was in.
Florida.
Was it Florida? Yep, that's right.
On May 7th.
And this lady and her friend were in the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts, and they see a raccoon walk in front of the car, and it walks right up to the drive-thru window, and the person at the window hands him a donut, and he runs across. And it was like the person was waiting at the window with a donut, so I'm wondering if this is a regular kind of thing where...
Well, 22 million views.
It's so cute. It's adorable.
and you can see this. Like this raccoon reaches up, grabs this.
Yeah, he doesn't
donut.
look bashful at all.
No, and it's a vanilla icing based donut. Obviously has very good taste because it's just vanilla icing, and it's one of the puffier style glazed donuts. It's not the dry bread cake donuts. These are delicious. They're full of air and they melt in your mouth. At least at Krispy Kreme they do. Dunkin' Donuts has some decent donuts. I'm not a donut connoisseur. I got to watch my girlish figure. But this raccoon obviously goes in here and goes to town. Here's the video if you haven't had a chance to see it. I really like this new format. It makes it so easy and so fluid just to be able to see everything. And if you don't like it, I really don't care. So I like it, and that's all that matters. Here it is.
What in the world? My dude.
Right?
He wants some Dunkin' Donuts. Don't hit him. Don't hit him. What is he doing?
You
Are they
little
going to give him a
trash
donut?
panda.
Are they going to give him a donut? Oh my god. Do it. Throw him the donut. Oh, look at him wave.
You like a Boston cream?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look, she's just waiting for it. It's like they know that the raccoon's going to come up.
Dude,
Give him
that
a
is
donut.
awesome.
Oh, they're gonna give him a
Sitting
donut.
there waiting for
Oh my
it,
God.
and then he comes up and
Do
he
it.
takes it so politely. It's so
Throw him the
cute.
donut.
Right.
I love that. My dude.
Oh my god.
So cute.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Hey, Rocket.
You know
wanna
there's
glaze
like
too?
27 other little babies over there waiting for that donut like it's the greatest
Yeah.
thing in the world. So, Olivia, why this? I mean,
I just
there's
wanted
so many.
something
Okay,
fun.
it's okay. I want to ask the question.
I'm
Just
sorry.
go
I
ahead and cut me
apologize.
off. No, it's fine. I'm just why? What about this video that made you go, hey, I'm gonna show this? There's tons of videos. Where did you see it? What happened? Who did you share it with?
I was just strolling on Facebook the other day and I saw it, and I thought it was adorable. And sometimes just want to make the show a little light and fun, kind of like the Five has the one last thing or one final thing at the end where each host gets
Animals
to bring,
are great.
Exactly.
Animals are
And
great.
The kids love
Animals
that.
are great. I'd say it 3 times.
Yeah.
Do. All right, so maybe
I
we,
just thought that having something, just a couple minutes of fun and cute and whatever.
Oh, I
just
like
to
it.
Lighten the mood every once in a while would be a good thing.
did I ever tell you the time that my cat got in the fight with a raccoon?
No.
No.
Yeah. So there was this cat that we had, and his name was Killer. It wasn't our cat. It was the neighbor's cat. And these people were Hispanic. Their yard was like, my mom would make this comment. And I know one of them watched the show, so I apologize to you folks. But she's like, your room looks like the Gabaldons live here. Because outside the front of their house, there was always like motorcycle parts and bathtubs and just, I mean, it's a nice area. They like literally moved from somewhere. And it was just horrible. It was just trash. It was just gross. So they would make that comment. The reason why I bring it up is they had a cat named Killer. And it was a Siamese male cat. And this was kind of the badass cat in the neighborhood. Real tough, would always pick fights, and then obviously rape every other female cat in the entire neighborhood. And every time they got pregnant, we'd be like, wonder who the dad is. It's Killer. Of course it's Killer, right? Horrible. Had a scarred eye, had a white freaking eye. I mean, this just looked like something out of a bad
Rough Life.
Cujo movie. Yeah. This cat was badass. Horrible, mean cat. Like, I must have hit it with the BB gun at least 40 times in my life.
God.
That's horrible. No, and this cat didn't care. He would look at it and go, brush it off and then flip you off. And this cat was just a jerk. So anyway, my
part of a
dad
motorcycle
was in
gang?
Ojai. What?
Was he part of a motorcycle gang?
Yeah, he smoked and
Switchblade?
he had a jacket and said, it was a Bad Pussies biking club
Mean
or
pussy.
something like that. I don't know. I don't know what. Anyway, so my dad worked up at Ojai in the golf course. I don't talk about my dad much, but when I do, you're gonna be like, he's had like 75 different jobs. This is the truth. My dad did everything: fire captain, pharmacist, a pro golfer, purchasing manager, pool designer and construction guy. I mean, just ridiculous. He did everything. So anyway, he brought this cat home from the Ojai Valley and Country Club that would go and literally, it was a big Tom, and he was a red Tom. He looked like Morris, but his head was like the size of a freaking like melon. His paws looked like 9 irons. I mean, this cat must have weighed 28 to 30 pounds.
Holy shit.
But not all built like a Tom. He's a Maine Coon.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, he was like this. His tail on him was as long as he was. Just a big cat. And when you would pet him, and you would love him on the couch, and he'd be laying on you, right? And he's right here, and you're just like loving on this guy. If you stopped, he would reach over and bite you in the webbing and draw blood on your hand. I mean, this is the type of guy. You just reach over, just like pet me or I'll kill you. So my mom was sick of this because he was constantly in the house and everything else. And she's like, he's going outside. He's being an outside cat. Well, you know what's going to happen? Him and Killer are going to get into it. So one time we're in the jacuzzi and we're sitting there, and it's nighttime and it's beautiful and the pool lights are on, and the back fence, I see something running across, and it looks like a cat, but it's got a huge rump on it, dude. It looks like a giant beetle, and it's a freaking raccoon. And all of a sudden I see Killer. Well, I don't see Killer. I see here's the raccoon running across the fence, and the fence is straight. It's brick, and then in between it, it's got wood frame square, and then colored paneling on it. That was always so popular back then. It was a fashion thing in Arizona and Southern California. Anyway, so he's just running on the top of that, and I can see him all the way to our neighbor's house. He's just running across, and I don't see Killer until the last possible second. But he jumps from the opposite side of the fence where the railroad tracks are and just hits this raccoon, and Killer knocks this raccoon off of the wall, and Killer and this raccoon are in the backyard, and they're squaring off, and you hear, and freaking Killer is just. And then you got the possum, which is, and they're not the possum, but the raccoon. And they're going to go at it. And then out of my house, you see Alex just stroll, dude. Just like a lion. And you see his shoulders, going up like a puma or a cheetah. And he walks over right in the middle of that thing, and that raccoon spins on him, and Alex rears back and just boom, just knocks that thing in the farking head. God. It snaps at him, and him and Alex just start going at each other. No joke, man. This thing's trying to bite him, and Alex must outweigh this raccoon by 10 pounds, and he's manhandling him. And Killer's over there just watching this whole thing. And finally, the raccoon, he comes back and he bites him on the back hindquarters, and his teeth were like this. Yeah. And that raccoon goes and jumps, climbs the wall, and he's out. And then Killer turns around, and Alex just turns and looks at him, and Killer goes, and Alex is just like, "You're fucking kidding me, dude." He's like, right. And Killer takes off, and then Alex owns the neighborhood. So he got in so many fights, he wound up getting feline leukemia. And he would have these huge pustules on his face from cancer, and we finally had to put him down. But this cat was the baddest cat you ever met. Point is, raccoons are dicks. I'm not a fan, and this one's cute. Go ahead, Leroy.
We have cats. We have big cats.
Yeah.
We have one that's a very lovable cat, this black and white thing. We have this other black cat whose name's Logan, and he's skittish.
Yeah.
And then we have this other cat named Jack. You're talking about bad cats. When we moved here, this was the first house for the cats, excuse me, where they had a back porch. And so we decided, all right, well, it'd be nice to leave the door open with close the screen door, but open the glass door so that they can see the birds and fresh air and all of that. And they can be catly.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't think about it. And this is only this is our first week here in this house. Well, Jack was already territorial. He's a big boy too. He's you mentioned how big that cat was. Jack's not that big, but at his peak, he was about 23 pounds. All his teeth, all his claws. And so one day, the neighbor's cat was just poking around on our deck. And I wasn't paying attention to it, had no knowledge of what the hell was happening. All of a sudden, my cat goes through the screen door, tears the screen off of the door, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? By the time I got up to go over and open the door to see what the hell was happening, he had his mouth around my neighbor's cat's neck like this.
Dude,
all his claws were dug into this thing, and he had him down. And so I had to go pull my cat off of my next door neighbor's cat, and this thing was bleeding. And I was like,
Oh,
my first week here, and my cat murdered someone already. And so I obviously we went over, and I was like, I am so sorry. Please let me know if there's a vet bill. Blah 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 blah. We don't let Jack out because I'm afraid of what he'll drag up to the house, be it a water buffalo or an alligator or whatever.
Oh yeah,
water buffalo.
Olivia, we've had cats our whole life. You got a quick cat story.
Well, I actually have a raccoon story.
Oh, you have now. Don't call it a coon, okay?
I'm not gonna call it.
Is it a raccoon story?
I'm just saying, little raccoon story.
Panda.
So when we lived
panda.
when we lived in Colorado, we had a family of 6 raccoons that lived in the sewer by our apartment, and we'd see them walk every once in a while, and they were adorable. But I think we were going out to dinner one night, and I was gonna take the trash out, and Matt was getting the car, and so I went to the trash. And in apartments, you've got the 2 large dumpsters, and they're in the little kind of a shed without the walls, the 3 walls, so they're hidden. And I walk around by the dumpster, and I hear something, and I look, and 4 raccoons pop up and stop, and we stare at each other. And I swear to God, we stared at each other for like a minute, and they just looked at me, and it was like a cartoon. It was like I was looking at a cartoon. So I just slowly put the bags down outside. They just looked at me, and I said, bye, guys. And I walked away, and they watched me walk away, and then they went back and did their thing.
Yeah, they're pretty cool unless you corner them.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my raccoon story.
All right. Well,
love it.
You wanted it on the show, and like I said, if you bring it to the show, it gets on. And listen, I think it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the internet's full of stuff like that. And it's okay to once in a while just have a little bit of levity. This is definitely talk about levity. This gentleman is a non-binary TikTok user who cries over being featured in Trump's campaign ad for 1 second. It's literally 1 second. It's a blip. It's not even a full anything. He's shown for 1 damn second. And he decides that he's got a lot to say about this, and he wants to let you know what he's feeling. So I figure we'd take a look at it. We could talk about hurt feelings. We could talk a little bit about what happens when your feelings are hurt, what happens when you're offended. But this overreaction to the fact that Donald Trump made a 1 second, not even Donald Trump had nothing to do with it. He doesn't make these commercials. He doesn't sign off of these commercials. He signs a piece of paper so it's disclosed to the election commission, and that's it. So this guy makes a 3-minute video for a 1 second spot. He draws more attention to it than Trump ever could. He gets 7 million views on this damn thing, and here he is. And it's like Dylan Mulvaney's cousin. So enjoy.
Hey friends, less fun video today than I would have hoped. I found out that Donald Trump used me and my gorgeous friend Dylan in his most recent advertisement, and I saw it.
He's crying.
And I kind of fell apart. And I didn't want to tell you that because I didn't want to like look weak. And it's like, oh my God, that's so stupid. I cry on the internet all the time. Like, why is today any different? Because it is different. Because it's personal, and it's also different because I fear for the safety of our community, and I didn't want to share this either, but I think it's important. I felt shame about being trans, and I felt shame about being public about my transness and being, you know, bubbly and fun and loving life. And I thought, oh, maybe if I were just different, then maybe I wouldn't have like failed my community in this way. And I know in my heart that that's not true. And I know that if it wasn't me, it could have easily been somebody else. And my individual personality is not representative of all trans people. I am not representative of all trans people. I'm, you know, one non-binary person trying to do their fucking best. And I know that they want me and people like me, people like you, if you're trans, to feel shame about our transness. That is a goal. They want to eradicate us. And if they make examples of people like me and my gorgeous friend Dylan, then they are one step closer to that eradication. And
like it is title.
the thing I feel more than shame or embarrassment or that I failed the community.
Mom, Dad, I want you to meet my gorgeous friend Dylan. Hi, Dylan. No. My gorgeous is his first name. You must.
I know those things aren't true. The thing that I feel is this intense passion in my gut that says this work is not over and we have work to do. And my God, do we have to do it? I mean, like, above all else, this is. We have to love each other harder. I
How did it get there?
I think he said passion in his butt.
I'm just.
No.
There's something that was in his gut. Was it in his gut or in his butt?
Look at those nails. Holy crap. That's
predicting
good.
it's going to be horrible. Not for only for James personally, maybe for me personally, who the fuck knows, but for trans people. And we are going to have to hold each other in community tighter than ever. And my only goal is to leave this earth knowing that, like, I loved trans people in my community as hard as I could, and I did everything I could to further our acceptance, to further trans equality, that I used every possible opportunity to say I love trans people, and we are beautiful, and we are wonderful, and we are part of the fabric of society that makes life worth living, because my life is worth living. It does not feel like it in this moment when the former president of the United States is using my videos against my will as an ad campaign to anti-trans.
You basically make up like 0.7% of the thread used in the quilt. So I don't know if you are the fabric of society. I'm just saying. All right, hold on.
Stuff. But I know that my life is worth living, and I know that every trans person is worth living too. And I want you to know that no matter how hard they attack us, I will always love us twice as hard, and I'm not the only one.
I'm sure you will, Panama Red.
That's my not fun video. Hug your trans family tighter today. I just got off the phone with Jordan. They helped me. They made me look into the sun and breathe happy thoughts because I was a wreck.
Gorgeous, Jordan.
Oh my God.
So I love you.
Oh my God, you needed help? And you have
So PTSD.
Look, she's gonna cry again. Oh, if I only had a brain.
So his tag is first of all, I want to be really clear. I always love being called a homophobe or a transphobe. I don't care who this person. If this guy was a Christian Trump supporter, I would be making fun of him just as hard. And that's what equality truly is, right? You want me to treat him differently because he pretends to be a woman? No, fuck that. This guy deserves to be laughed at, and I'm going to. His tag is James is smiling. Well, obviously not. I'm wondering if TikTok can how many name changes a day can they do with the amount of time that this guy's personality changes? Listen to me. Nobody's coming after you. You had to go looking for the attention. You had to post a video and cry on the internet. And the only reason we're making fun of you right now isn't because we want to hurt you or eradicate you. In fact, I support you. And I think good for you, sister. If you want to be a beard and be called a woman, well, there's a circus show just for you. I don't care. What I have a problem with is you're sitting here and making shit up that anyone cares if you're trans. What we don't want you to do is talk to our children. That's our problem. Second, you did more damage to yourself than Trump ever could.
Yes.
It was a 1 second video. I don't know how bad that 1 second was because I didn't even watch it. I watched yours, which made me laugh at you more than Trump ever could. What the hell are these people's problems? Why are you putting yourself in the limelight if you don't want to be made fun of? People try to make fun of me all the time. It doesn't work. They try. People just stop doing it because I don't react the way people do. Mom, Dad, why? No, what I do is I go ahead and find something. I find your pressure point and I make you look like a moron. And then you just run away with your tail between your legs. Who wants to go about Mr. James and gorgeous James here?
He needs a safe space.
He needs a God, he needs safe space.
You know what's funny?
You know what? I think,
Olivia, go
I
ahead.
think him.
Go ahead.
And from the 2016 election after Hillary lost, it was the blonde chick with the short hair who was like melting down and crying in Washington. Do you remember that video or picture?
I remember the Britney person. Leave Britney alone.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, I was
that's when it
just
all
thinking about
started.
They would make
They would have a
couple.
love child that would
Yes.
just be fantastic. And more power to this guy. I don't care. Good for him. I just think you're an idiot for making the video and drawing attention to yourself. It's like the people who are like, oh my God, I was completely trolled by somebody and it was horrible. And here's what they said. It's like, well, all you're doing is making it worse. All you're doing is codifying the result and giving this person the attention. Listen, trolls don't make me cry. I never go, oh my God, the trolls are weighing me down. No, they give me life. They make me feel great. Leroy, you're go ahead, live. Jeez, somebody.
Sorry, it reminds me of people on Facebook who are like, "It's May 1st. It's my birthday month. My birthday's on the 31st.
Right.
Just to let you know." And then every day they post, "It's my birthday in 30 days." And then
Here are the presents I want. Here's my birthday registry.
I don't really want any presents. Just donate to this. But my birthday's in 30 days. Oh, drives me nuts.
Leroy,
I'm like, I don't even want to announce it's my birthday.
I just don't understand. Leroy, you got a take on this, by the way?
Yeah. Well, I think what's more interesting is the fact that as emotional as he got, right? And that's really what we're looking at here. I don't care what he does with his crotch or who he decides to share it with. None of my business. Don't give a shit. But when you post a video like that for the entire world where you are that emotional,
right?
It's something that Matt has said before 100 times, where when people get like that emotional over even this show, Matt has said, well, that's me living rent free in your head. And that's what this is. This is somebody who has Trump derangement syndrome, right? Has to have that victimhood mentality. Otherwise they can't be happy, and they're not happy. Right. And so what happens is this poor dude is struggling, obviously. But he has let Trump live rent free in his head while he thinks that the world is oppressing him.
Correct.
And I think that's hilarious.
It's like, okay, here's the problem. If you want to demonstrate firearm awareness, the last thing you want to do is, hey, man, how's everybody? See this? Look at my new gun. I got a new gun. See my gun? If you want to demonstrate mental stability, the last thing you should do is make a video that makes you look completely mentally unstable.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that Trump probably said is that this stuff needs to be kept away from our kids. When you're on a TikTok channel where 13-year-olds watch your stuff and you're sitting here just making a complete ass out of yourself, it has nothing to do with where you. There's a guy that comes on the show that was named something Washington, Kerry Washington. I don't know what his name is. But he comes on all the time, and I posted the American flag and said, this is my pride flag. And I said, it should always be first, was my comment. Well, flag etiquette says you put no flag above the United States. And that's included the pride flag. No, and I've seen people hoist the pride flag on a pole and put the American flag underneath. It's first, period. Plain and simple. That's flag etiquette 101. And he's like, you're a homophobe. You don't like pride. And I said, no, dude. What? Why do you need my acceptance for where you put your penis? Why is that important? Isn't it that the fact that I care about your God-given and natural rights, isn't that enough? Why do you have to have my blessing? You're not my child. You're not going to marry my son or marry my daughter. Why do you need my blessing of where you put your penis? Do I walk up to you and say, hey, I'm a heterosexual. Can you celebrate me? I don't understand it. He's like, oh, it's about love. I'm like, no, it's not. It's nothing. I said, the only difference between a lesbian and homosexual and heterosexual is who you doink. Tell me something else. How do you put your pants on different? How do you live differently? What taxes do you file differently than me? What does your work qualifications look like compared to me because you're gay or homosexual? So that's the question. Leroy, in any way, shape, or form, what am I missing? Is there any, what
You're
is
not.
the stance of, hold on, what is the stance of the pride flag that I'm missing, except for the fact that you like hairy butthole and I like vagina? What's the difference? I mean, is there one? Because I know what it used to stand for. The LGB flag was about accepting the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community, which I totally get, just like first wave and second wave of feminism. I support, and I support pride when it first began. But I don't know what this TQIAL2S pride spirit shit is, and I don't support any of it, because now I think you're just supporting things that have to do with the brain versus down below what's in between your legs. Tell me I'm missing something. Olivia, you jump in.
Nope,
after
you're
Leroy.
not missing anything. As a matter of fact, on the post that you had created, I left a comment that sums it up succinctly. We have moved steadily from a nation who goes to support veterans, World War II, President's Day, very patriotic type causes. We are slowly drifting from honoring that segment of society, and now we are putting more of an emphasis. We want to celebrate more of people's personal choices in front of the actual heroes that provide us that freedom. And what I mean by that is, to Matt's point, it doesn't matter what I think of what you do with your whatever you have, down south. It doesn't matter if I like brownies or if I like the color orange or blue skies. What we're saying is that, why don't we just make a national holiday for people who love apples, right? Or love the taste of whatever. At some point, we need to pull back from celebrating people's personal choices and get back to the things that matter. Get back to what patriotism really means, to the heroes that actually, help give us the freedom to do all of this. That's the difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hold on.
That's all I had. Is there something
What
going
is it
on?
again?
I didn't hear it.
Hold on. Oh, okay, good. Okay. Got it. Good.
Hayden's telling
Thanks.
us
All right, we
don't
love
close
you.
the door, sweetie.
Hayden was trying to tell us a joke. So, Olivia, are you going to try to tell the joke?
No.
Okay, so all right, I'll tell the joke. So everybody has,
And she closes the
everyone knows that Russia, and the Russian language, Cyrillic. No, it's not Cyrillic. Is it the Cyrillic alphabet?
I don't know.
Look it up, Liv, please. But either way, that Russia has the longest alphabet out of any language. I believe that's correct. Now, Mandarin and Japanese, katakana, that doesn't count. Those are symbols, but we're talking about an actual alphabet, not hieroglyphics or.
It is the Cyrillic alphabet.
Look at me. Look.
you.
Damn, boom, just dropping the knowledge. So with Russian. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You got to do this.
Wow, we expanded our applause, did we? This is really
I think
good.
it's a new one.
I feel
Man, this is
really,
going on forever.
I feel really good. Well, they're very happy with me knowing. So anyway, Hayden's joke was Russians not just are going to war with Ukraine, but they're about to sue the LGBTQ community, and the reason why is they're suing them for surpassing Russia for having the longest alphabet, and that's what she was saying, because it's going to go on forever. LGBTQIRSPQTLMNP. So that's her joke. I thought it was cute when she said it. In retrospect, it wasn't, but that's okay. That's what we do, and we try to go ahead and bring funny humor, haha. All right. So here's the thing. I've been saying this for a while, that, and I want to be clear here, and it's important to me that people understand, is that we're not talking about the LGBTQ community because it's pays the bills or it's fun. This is a tough one for me, because if everyone has watched me for the last couple of years, I've been very supportive, but I also believe that there's a line that's been crossed. And I truly believe that it's the TQIA plus 2SP spirit crap is really taken the initiative of the LGB community and now interjected something completely different. And I truly believe that this very small portion of the LGBTQ community is hijacking the efforts of the last 40, 50 years of the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community. I've said it earlier. One was about love and acceptance, and this one is about please clarify my headspace. And I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel. Some people may not like that. Well, I don't care. You get the good with the bad. I call balls and strikes. But I also believe that there's one form where Christians were really all about persecuting the LGBT community back in the day. And through that, it's an abomination and hate the sin, not the person, and marginalizing these people. And I completely feel that the zealots of religion were just as bad as the TQIA two-spirit, because I believe it's cult-like. I really do.
Yeah.
I think you should leave people alone. I think homosexuals were not proven to be, dangers to our community or, cooties, and they could give blood and everyone was like, oh, well, they're the reason for AIDS. And it was just horrible. Reagan was horrible. He said that AIDS was a gay person's disease. And although it did spread through that community like wildfire, it ultimately spread through the heterosexual community as well. And I just think that people need to let people live. But the moment now that we cross the line into our children, this bothers me. But there's something else that's happening. It's reversed. I believe that the portions of the transgender, queer, indigenous, whatever the frack that is, I don't even know anymore. There is this effort to destroy Christianity and marginalize people of faith. Sure. And I think this is a subset of a very small, insignificant amount of this party that gains a lot of notoriety and attention because predominantly leftists, far left, are promoting these people as the voice. And the gay and lesbian people that I talk to and bisexual people that I know are like, we're not really proud of what is happening here. This is turned into something that, yes, was a little, sexually focused, and we run around in leather chaps and we would do all that type of shit in our parades, but it was our parade. You didn't want to see it. You didn't have to. Now it's that if you don't celebrate with us, not just support and condone, but if you don't celebrate, you're a bigot, you're a transphobe, and you're a Christian right-wing conservative. I want to open it up to commentary. I want to bring everybody together to talk about this, but I want to kind of watch this first, if that's okay with everybody, before we start opening up to comments. This is a Christian man. He was arrested in Pennsylvania during a pride march, and he's holding a sign that says, Jesus said, go and sin no more. Fairly standard looking guy, t-shirt and jeans, hat on. All cool, all okay, nothing really offensive. And ultimately was arrested. Now, we just saw this happen quite a bit in Canada. And this has been going on quite a bit in Canada. But to see it here now, it's interesting to say the least. Jack Prose had a really good article on this, but the entire incident was caught on camera. He was standing on public property. He was not breaking the law. It's my understanding he wasn't being violent or obtrusive. He was using his First Amendment right and doing exactly what he should do in protest. So let's watch this video, and then I want to talk about the decline in Christianity in the United States. And I think all of us have a dog in this fight, and obviously have an opinion on it. So here it is.
Well, here we are in Reading. We got a bunch of people coming from out of town to celebrate evil. It was a wonderful providence of God. I was driving with my family down the road and we passed this. Met some faithful brothers over here that are standing. I came out and got to preach for about 12 minutes before a cop got in my face, laid hands on me, and threatened to arrest me if I didn't stop. Of course, I don't have my GoPro camera with me because I wasn't coming out, had no idea this was happening, I just happened to drive by it. But the gospel went out. They got drag queens, they got children here, they're about to do a flag-raising ceremony into Satan's cesspit. our own mayor, Eddie Moran, is out here. And yeah, no, this is the type of insanity. Now, what's amazing about Reading is it is largely a Hispanic population. But if you don't know how well you can see, there's not a lot of Hispanics out today. It's a bunch of white people. I'm sure they drove over from West Reading or from out of town because the Hispanic community largely would shun this.
So the first thing that comes to mind is I don't like his vernacular. I don't like his language.
I don't either.
I don't see a whole lot of evil going on right here. I see a bunch of families who are simply just gathering. There's no assless chaps. There's no sexualization of children. They're just people who are celebrating what they want to celebrate. Now, do I think you should celebrate where you put your penis and vagina? No, I think it's stupid. I certainly understood the time for it. I also understood civil rights. I understood suffrage. I understood Japanese Americans rebelling against the United States government, indigenous people. I get all those things. There was a time and place for everything. But it's kind of like, advocating for 8-track tapes. It's done. It's over. Let's move on. They're not coming back. And I don't see anything wrong with this. I don't like his language. I find his demeanor to be, honestly, if I was walking by, I would say, dude, you need to read the Bible more and judge a little less. But that's just my first reaction. Leroy, Livia, anybody?
Yeah, Christians are some of the most judgmental people I've ever met in my entire life. And there's a reason why I don't go to church anymore. And there's a reason why I don't believe in organized religion anymore. Because they just, some, not all, but some Christians just they think they're better than people who are not Christians or who do not believe in the same things as them. And they are doing the exact opposite of what Jesus is teaching them. And it's just, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, have a little tolerance.
I think it goes both ways, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say. I think there's an intolerance for Christianity. I think Christians can be intolerant. I don't think anyone shies away from that. I think there's some people who can be really, really bigoted. However, I don't see a problem here with this. I want to watch the rest of the video and see where he goes. Leroy, any first initial thoughts?
Yeah, well, more so just to kind of add on to what you two have already said. There's so many verses in the Bible that actually state, hey, you're supposed to judge your neighbor, or don't judge the rich person over the poor person, or judge not lest ye be judged. But that's not the entire verse. There's a lot in the Bible that talks about judging people. And I think what happens is the people that take religion, the zealots, will say, the people that take it to the extreme, go ahead and use that as justification to do largely what a lot of the left-leaning people do, which is to tell others how they should live.
Right.
And that's not what the United States was founded on. If anything, an argument can be made that when the United States was first, invented, we'll say, that it was largely Protestant at birth. And the whole idea behind that was that when you had a congregation of Protestants, that they were self-governing, right? They didn't look to a higher authority to say, this, we want you to rule this way. It was something where everyone got together in a church and they ruled themselves from the bottom up. And so that's kind of where the roots for the American way of rule, right, came from, with this bottom up philosophy. So when I see this kind of thing, it's taken out of context. And does he have a right to be there?
Sure.
Yes, but it's not in great taste. Like, to your point, I don't see anything that's going on there that is way out of bounds.
There's nothing out of bounds at all.
No. Should he have been arrested?
Well, we don't know yet.
Not.
We got to watch it. We got to see what he does, because if he's talking like that and he's saying you're evil to around children, I think that's it's antithetical to what he's trying to do. Olivia, you were smiling for a second. What?
I was like, you put my picture on yours, and it just was.
Yeah.
Took me by surprise. I'm like, oh, there's two of me.
I just made a mistake. Olivia says, Olivia, I disagree a bit on the comment. I'm thinking there are more accommodating than most realize. There are more vocal, self-selecting than preaching. But Mel, that's not what she's saying. She didn't say there were more. She said not all. So for anyone to sit here and say that Christians are not judgy and preachy and bigoted is a ridiculous point, because there are.
There's a personal reason.
We all live. You don't need to have your personal reason. This was said on TV. This was said in the evangelical morning airwaves. This was said on the pulpit when I went to church, that homosexuality was evil and you're going to burn in hell forever. And although, yes, the Bible has judgment in it, but he also said to spread the word of Christianity. He also said to respect your fellow man. For us to sit here and say that it's Christian to go and sit on a corner and say you're evil and you're going to burn in hell because you love somebody different, I'm sorry, I disagree. This is here. It's like saying that racism isn't here. It is here. It's not even what a pimple on the ass of what it was in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, but it's still here. And yes, there is homophobia, and anyone who says there's not, this guy is a prime example so far of what he said. He doesn't like gay people. He hates the sinner and he hates the sin. That's not what we're told to do. I think we have to be very careful not to become the people that they say we are. That's my point. Let's watch it.
There's a very personal reason why I don't go to
Let's not
organized
do that
religion
now.
anymore.
Let's watch this and then we can do it. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Here we go.
But yeah, that's what we got. This is what they're doing in Reading City. Tyrant cops threatening older men and myself for standing out here. You got, just everything you can imagine. So this is quite crazy, but a wonderful providence of God that I could walk out here. And these cops over here, these guys are tyrants. That man threatened me, laid hands on me. But by the grace of God, I could preach for about 10 minutes or so, like I said, before he did that. So the gospel went out. The law went out. The gospel went out. God's going to do work with it. He's apparently a professing Christian, too. That's the horrible thing about this. Looks like some more men just showed up to support us. This cop's going to give him a hard time.
I don't. Guys, let them have their. This is public property. Okay, well then respect it. Oh, I'm respecting it. Let them have their event. You know who's cheering for us? The people that are in hell. So you do you, and I'm going to do me. This is public property. You. God is not. That's it. Grab this one, your brother.
Getting this on film.
Can I give him my bag while it stuffs him? Yo, I'm going to need you to go to 128 North.
For what?
And they're clapping. Brothers, man.
I cannot believe I'm watching this.
Altar.
So there's a couple things. Some people think on this, I will agree to disagree with Matt. Why? What is it that you disagree with what I'm saying? You're saying that there are not members of the church that hate and despise homosexuals. That's what you're going to tell me? Please tell me why you believe that. Just like there are Cub Scouts, there's executives. Of course there are. You're telling me that in the 1980s and 1990s, there wasn't a concerted effort that castigated and cast out the LGBT community from society and wanted to see them eradicated from the society. Are you kidding me? I don't understand what you're saying you disagree with me on. And this is the problem. It's very vague. I'm being very specific. I'm being very detailed in what I'm saying. And you're saying you disagree with what do you disagree with? What are you saying? Because this is now flipped and it's wrong. Mm-hmm. The guy who's filming is a putz. The guy here did nothing wrong. He brought a sign, he wasn't screaming, and he wanted to go ahead and preach the word of God. What's happening here is an absolute abuse and an absolute abuse of power from the police department.
Absolutely.
100%. And I don't think anyone is saying anything against that. But the guy who's filming, for him to say, well, I didn't have my GoPro on. Well, why would you need a GoPro? Second, and what were you saying? And if it's what you were saying to the phone, then I can understand why the police were frustrated. This guy, I think what happened is that the guy who's filming decided to shut up, and that cop's pissed and really wanted to take him to jail. And when this guy showed up, he took it out on him. That's the problem I have.
I think he's got a lawsuit on his hands.
Yeah, of course he got a lawsuit. I say he absolutely. These cops are 100%. There's no just cause for putting this guy in cuffs at all. At all.
No, I mean there were signs across the street.
Right.
So
He was
are they going to
peaceful.
arrest them for holding signs? He wasn't doing anything.
That's why this video's on the show. Go ahead.
He was peaceful. It was in a public place. He wasn't in the face of anybody else, and he wasn't threatening violence in any way. So in essence, when someone is protesting like that, for you to arrest them is to say you're not allowed to protest. And by saying that, what you are saying in essence is we don't want you to think that way. You're not allowed to talk that way, which means you're not allowed to think that way. And that's why we have the First Amendment. That's why it's so important to keep it open. I don't like what the guy was saying, right? But it wouldn't matter if a half a dozen Klan members were in white hoods were walking down the center of the road. You know, hate speech. I'm very, very careful with this.
Yeah, me too.
I think
me
that
too.
I think that people should be able to say whatever the hell they want, so long as it's not the proverbial, fire in the theater type language. Anything short of that should be allowed.
Sorry, I got to interrupt. Once in a while, we get a comment that I got to address. Rhonda says, my disagreement is that you don't believe that homosexuality is a sin. The Bible clearly says it is. I'm not arguing this video. Sex is a sin. So in no way, shape, or form did I say homosexuality is not a sin according to the Bible. I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. What I said is God does the judging. You're supposed to bring the word of God to people who need it. You're not supposed to be the judge. And I don't believe that everything in the Bible needs to be taken for what everyone does, because what you're doing is you're quoting Leviticus. And there are plenty of things that we can go through from the Old Hebrew and the Old Testament that you don't follow today. But it's funny, in order to justify people's bigotry, and I'm not saying you, now please understand me providing you commentary doesn't mean I'm directing at you. It's talking to the group, and and I know that there are people who take the Old Testament as verse, but don't necessarily take the other things that are completely asinine in the Bible, including slavery and selling your daughter into servitude and killing your mother and shooting your brother for planting crops side by side and touching the skin of undead things, or wearing garments of two different cloths, or shunning people and tearing your clothing of people who embarrass you. I mean, these are old,
and owning slaves.
Right. These things. Right. Let's get real here, people. You can pick and choose what you want to follow. Either you follow it all or you don't follow everything, right? I mean, come on, that's kind of hypocritical. So, that's the Old Testament, Matt. But you don't get to pick and choose. That's not the way this works. Oh, the King James Version, it's much nicer, God. Well, wait a second.
That's the same God, right?
Right, because this is more reflective of Sodom and Gomorrah than Sodom and Gomorrah. So when is this turning into a pillar of salt? Let's be careful here with taking stories that have been translated 100 times over through dead languages that we don't even speak anymore, through multiple cultures and multiple faceted religions. You could take Mormonism and stick it 3,000 years ago when we'd all be Mormons versus Christian. Hello. Let's be really careful with he who's without sin cast the first stone, right? I mean, that's one of the best proverbs and best lessons that we could go ahead and correlate till today. I'm not saying that homosexuality and lesbianism is a sin in the eyes of people who follow God. That's certainly what the humans have done and said. And that's certainly what the Old Testament said. But if you're going to sit here and tell me that sex isn't a sin before marriage, it is. And coveting thy neighbor's wife is a sin, and lying is a sin. There's a lot of sins, and I'm not saying that it's not. What I'm saying is with respect to everybody and not to one person who brought this up, because Rhonda, I'm not just focusing on you. Mind your own fucking business.
Right. Right.
The moment that it crosses into our children's lives and my daughters and my sons, and it's at the schools, and we're being told that we have to go ahead and watch two men fellatio in some sort of in a book or in a festival whip each other. Like we've seen these videos. I'm a little bit different, and I'm saying, whoa, I don't need God to tell me that that's wrong. As a father, I'm like, So please show me where I've said homosexuality isn't a sin, or at least be aware or acknowledge that that's what people think.
I got a comment here.
I know, but Leroy's got one too. Let Leroy go, then Olivia.
Well, it's a comment from a
all right.
person.
Then you go and then Leroy.
So you had originally said sex is a sin when you were doing that at the very beginning. So somebody said sex outside of marriage is a sin.
That's right.
So Mel comes back and says gay people get married, so it's not a sin.
That's right.
So
well, that was my
that's just-
point.
Yeah.
Sex is not what's defined as making love or copulating or sowing the seeds of union. Sex is simply sex. And you can't sit here and say that sex isn't a sin, because it is, unless that you caveat it with marriage. So I want to be careful. If anyone has lived with another person before marriage, isn't that considered a sin in the church? Even though it may not necessarily be in the good book? Because what are you doing? Having ice cream socials? No, you're doing the beast with two backs and you're not married. I lived in sin for a shit ton of time, and I've openly admitted it. My wife and I lived in sin.
3.5 years?
Lived in sin. 100% sinful. Leroy, go ahead.
Back when we had Ryan Weaver on the show, something that I had said that caused a little bit of a spark, enough to cause a fire in Canada, was that religious arguments only work on religious people. And what I meant by that could be perfectly summed up in this argument. So when this gentleman is out here protesting on the side of the road to basically say, oh, what you're doing is a sin, do you really think that the people on the other side of the road care? Do you really think that the people that are over there are heavily religious? No, they just want to love who they want to love, and that's fine, right? Not my business to tell them who to love. Not my business to tell them who they should be able to push stoip, right? And same thing for this guy. This is one of those cases where a libertarian argument absolutely works brilliantly, because it basically says, look, just leave everyone the hell alone, right? The cops shouldn't have arrested the dude. The dude should have just let everyone up on across the street, let them be, for God's sake. And something that Mel and Matt were talking about between the religious arguments is that Matt he does a beautiful job of this. Every single night, he does a beautiful job of this. Whenever there's an example out there from any of the dummies or from any of the pieces that we do, he talks about the hypocrisy behind it. And what I mean by that is the Bible is just littered with examples where it's hypocritical in nature. And whether or not it's a biblical hypocrisy, whether or not it's a personal hypocrisy, whether or not it's a political hypocrisy, we all live with these little things that we'll let go by, but then we'll use them later in the face of an argument. I think the one of the most mature things that we can do, one of the most considerate things that we can do, is understand that hypocrisy and try to get to a point where we work at a personal level to remove as much of it as possible. And I think when you distill that down, you are basically left with what it's like to be a libertarian. That was my point.
If you make the political conjunction with that, people are saying fornication. Okay, listen, I'm not going to mince words with you. The word fornication wasn't around during Aramaic, okay? Either was sex. And whatever it was back then, it certainly wasn't fornication, and it certainly wasn't sex. And whatever it was in the time, it doesn't matter. It comes down to this. There are things in the Bible that are said that are no longer followed. And people are like, oh, that was before Jesus. Wait, stop. Stop. You don't get to be selective, or you do get to be selective. You decide. Either it's a very carefree, selective book that you get to pick and choose what you want to follow. I want to do my neighbor's wife. It's really not a sin. I'm okay with that. Because if you're telling me that you're not supposed to have impure thoughts, well, every single man's going to hell, because the average man thinks about sex every 8 seconds. I promise you, I have thought about it 376 times just sitting here because my wife has a shirt on that shows just a little bit, and I'll tell you, I've thought about it at least 300 times since we've been sitting here. Well, she's your wife. That's okay. Well, if she wasn't, I'd probably be thinking about it too. Can we just be honest? I think with people being murdered in the streets, people ripping babies out of the womb, people coming over our border and killing our loved ones because of fentanyl, of supplying $160 billion to people to murder each other, but not providing money for our homeless and our veterans, for the government to pass trillions of dollars in new spending when they can't even pay for the old spending. When you have people abandoning God in droves and abandoning religion and having no hope and no faith in anything, gives us this disdain for today because we don't care about tomorrow. I think he's got a lot more to worry about, and we have a lot more to worry about versus where we put our frickin' penises and where we put our vaginas. Don't you think? Don't you think we might just be worrying about the microcosm and not worrying about the big picture, seeing the forest through the trees, and you're worried about the shrubs and the bushes? Can we focus on the things that matter most? Let's people leave our children alone. Let's love thy fellow man. Let's realize we all have inequity and we all are sinners and nobody's getting out of here alive. Okay? Can we all agree? Can we start focusing on things that are truly important? Because this fight isn't with gay and lesbian people. It's not about LGBT. No. It's not about the pride flag. It's about the people who are preying on our children and trying to go ahead and make them, force them to destroy our beliefs and our system of how we want to raise our children. That is the fight. Can we please focus on the things that are important and let go of the mundane? And that's about as preachy as I get. Let's watch the rest of this damn video. My Lord.
Yeah. That a crucifix in your pocket, sir?
Are you happy to see me?
You got it? Yep. Yeah, they're threatening us earlier.
Sir, it's tight. I got a Bible.
I can't believe this is in Reading. I can't believe this is in Reading.
1 Corinthians 6:9.
He's got a rosary. He's got a set of rosary anal beads.
No, man, he's got a Bible in his back pocket.
We're going to get started. My name is Enrique Castro. I'm the executive director of Grand Pride Celebration. And it is my
God bless you, brother.
Wish you all a happy.
So what type of cop, with respect, what type of police officer, what type of cop does not search the backpack, puts somebody in handcuffs, carries them off, and
doesn't even take the backpack off.
Does not even take the backpack off.
Right.
But you don't know what's in that backpack. I mean, what a stupid, if you had, it just basically just degrades the reason to put him in handcuffs anyway, because you don't consider him a threat. I mean, there's so much in this video that's wrong. There's wrong on both sides. The only people who aren't doing anything wrong except when they meet their creator, okay, if you believe that, is the people who are over there giving their God-fearing, natural and God-given rights to just fricking try to be happy. There's nothing going on over there, folks, that's a threat to you at home.
Right.
And if they want to preach the word, you know what's the worst thing? Is we're sitting here saying, don't push your values on me. Don't push your freaking sexual cult on me about homosexuality and lesbianism and transgenderism. Leave us alone. We just want to be left alone. Well, maybe they want to be left alone and they don't want the Bible thrown in their face. Maybe they don't want the word of God. Have you ever thought about that? You know what happens when people come to my door and knock on the door and they say, hey, we're Latter-day Saints. Get the fuck off my property. And just like when people come on my property and say, hey, I want to sell you a vacuum cleaner, get the F off my property. The only people who don't get kicked off my property, who is that, Olivia? Who gets to come on my property and sell something?
Gun salesman.
It's on our sign outside, honey.
Oh, Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts, that's it. Your Girl Scout, you want to sell a
Think
cookie?
about that one.
We're buying some damn cookies for you. All right, just get off my damn property. I don't want to hear about it, okay?
Tag-alongs.
So age old, you can catch more bees with honey than you can with vinegar. Both sides need to follow that. I mean,
Yep.
if they think homosexuality is a sin and they're trying to convert you, calling someone evil
not the way to
and
do
you're
it.
going to hell is not the way to get their attention. So they listen to you.
Right.
They're not. They're just going to walk away. And same with the other side that is saying their stuff and saying just because you don't support me, you're a homophobe and a transphobe and blah, 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 blah. It goes both ways. I mean, respect each other. Everyone's different. Everyone's got their own values. I know we're raising our children different than my mom raised me, but I'm not going to hell for it.
Right. And if you are, then maybe we should question the why you're going to hell for it. Real quick, Elaine says, do you delete people's comments that you disagree with? I don't know who you're talking to. I'm assuming it's going to be me. It might be somebody else, Elaine. Yes, absolutely. I delete comments of people I disagree with. If you want to expand on that, I will. Or if that's an acceptable answer, that's fine. I would like to expand on it because I think it's important and pertinent to the conversation before we watch the rest of the video. So here it is. If somebody comes on there and makes a racial epitaph, I disagree with them, they're going away. If someone comes and insults somebody from a level that is uncalled for and a point that, honestly, you fat shame somebody, if you want to do that shit, come on here live and do it. I'm not going to say I've never made fun of somebody's body type, but I do it face to face. If you want to have a conversation, fine. But if you want to go ahead and call someone a Nazi or call someone...
that's different.
You want to call somebody the F word, but about their homosexuality. If you want to degrade somebody to a point of calling them a Trump-tard or a libtard and make fun of their mental capacity, I am going to not only delete your comment, I'm going to ban you. And there is a reason why, because that's not freedom of speech. Because you wouldn't say that shit to my face. So don't say it to somebody else behind their back. So Elaine, yes, I delete people's comments that I disagree with. However, very rarely you can say whatever you want about me because I'm fair game. I'm the host. It's my channel. It's my show. You say whatever you want about me. But the problem is that people won't come on and say that about me. They want to say it in the comments. And they want to go ahead and they want to be petulant little turds. So when they do that, I engage with people in this show. And it's the one thing that nobody else does in this community. Joe Rogan doesn't engage with his audience like I do. Nobody does. Crowder does it in person, but I read comments because I truly believe if you're going to take the time to say something incredibly smart, incredibly insightful, you deserve to be heard. But you also, if you're going to say something completely petulant and vitriolic, you also deserve to be heard. You deserve to be put on blast, and you deserve to be recognized for your stupidity. So Elaine, I'm not saying that to you. I'm just answering your question the best way I know how. I hope it helps.
Also, Facebook, if you say something and it catches an algorithm on Facebook automatically will delete the comment too.
Yeah.
So it's not us.
Elaine says, I talked about adultery. I'm not sure what this is about.
It was probably Facebook because the only person that got blocked today was Brianna something.
Yeah, Brianna was out here and she was she made a comment that I don't appreciate. And she was also pointing out all the guys and saying hi and looking like a bot. I'm going to take her back and say no, but no, we don't delete comments. There's no reason to. Why? It keeps the channel running. Let's watch the rest of this. I like the new format. It's keeping the conversation on.
Pride Month. It's also my honor to thank you for making history with us today as we celebrate the first.
This is an unjust arrest. We have it on film.
Not only the city of Bragg, but Bucks County. If you go between here and our surrounding rides, there's a march in Philly, march in Pittsburgh, and a couple other ones. We brought one to Berks County, and thank you all for supporting that. And I said this on Thursday, fundraising in last round. If you look, ladies and gentlemen, at the protesters across the street, we're a community of love.
Interesting.
So when they get themselves in trouble,
Yeah, I'm just watching his. He's trying
When
to
they
undo
get
the
themselves
backpack
in
versus
trouble, this
take
man
the
was
cuffs off.
unjustly arrested. This is sheer tyranny. And the wicked across the street are saying they're
Pause it real
celebrating
quick.
love. This is incredible.
Let's just finish.
What an incredible providence that the Lord's allowing me to film. I had no idea. Meanwhile, in Reading City. God have mercy.
we've heard of religion, I will say, God bless you. Allah bless you.
Can you hear this? Do you hear what that guy's saying on the mic?
Some love into that heart of yours.
Okay.
And meanwhile, we got Demon Lady over here. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up.
All right. I've seen enough. So I want to put a bow on this and just kind of make some comments. The guy who was arrested, in no way, shape, or form did he break the law. He was illegally detained. There was no probable cause. You can't tell someone not to say something. He did not have any threatening mannerisms. He did not say anything disrespectful. He started to preach the word of God. This guy has a case. Now, they probably cut him loose, but that's even worse. If you put somebody in handcuffs, there has to be a reason. There has to be probable cause. He has to be being detained for a reason, for further questioning. There has to be some sort of issue. He has to be in a spot where they thought he was a threat. There has to be some sort of crime that was committed. There was even jaywalking. It doesn't count. It can't be a ticketed misdemeanor of why they're going to put him in handcuffs. They had to stop him because of a threat. They are not going to be able to show this. And honestly, these cops are going to get their asses reamed. If not, I don't doubt there's really no lawsuit here. There was no physical violence to him. They stopped and impeded his speech, and he will probably get a written formal apology. Some of these cops will be suspended without pay, and that'll be it. And that's what should happen. They should be reprimanded. Nobody should lose their job over this. This was mishandled. It was inappropriate. Now, the jackass that was on the camera, I'm going to say this. Those people on the mic were not shouting down.
Bless you.
Shouting down anyone. They said, may God bless you. May they find love in your heart. And you hear what he said? Listen to them. Listen. Well, what they were saying to you, there was no evil there. They were actually doing something that was quite Christian. They believe that you have malice in your heart, and they're going to pray for you. And I didn't hear you say you're going to pray for them once. And yes, I saw the girl and the devil horns and those people. Just like there are some bad Christians, there are some bad people in the other side too when it comes to lesbian, gay, and whatever. But for you to sit here and compare 70 or 80 to 100 people who are all dressed in shorts and T-shirts, there's no sexual anything going on. They're not selling dildos. They're not having copious amounts of intravenous unprotected sex. And you have one person who's dressed like a devil. That person should be shunned just like you should. It's horribly disgusting. The guy who was arrested, he didn't do anything wrong. That's my opinion. Leroy, who wants to go?
You can go, Leroy.
Real quick, I just wanted to point out, this is a very, very minor thing, and Matt and I will probably have a few words over this one. I don't know that he was arrested. He was detained. You can handcuff him and detain him, but that's not the same as arresting. And so this distinction.
No, that's absolutely incorrect.
Well, hold on. What I'm saying is that arrest is not the same as detaining. Now, was it wrong? Yes, it was still wrong. But I don't know that he was ever. I mean, did they cart him off? Because when you arrest someone, right, you actually have to charge them with a crime. Was he just thrown in handcuffs, dragged around the corner, and said, "Dude, get the fuck out of here"? You know what I mean?
No,
and those are two different things.
No, they're not. No, the moment that the moment in any way, shape, or form that you put him in handcuffs and take away his ability to leave, he is officially under arrest. He is being detained for further investigation. He is absolutely being detained. He is being stopped. If he would have said to him, "Am I under arrest?" "No, you're being detained." For what cause? If that officer cannot provide a cause, he is officially under arrest. He may not be charged, which is different. Charged does not happen until he is actually read his rights and Mirandized, which does not have to be done the moment cuffs are put on. The moment that he is interrogated and questioned is when he has to have his Miranda rights read to him. And standard questions of what's your name or what's your ID is not covered under Mirandized. The moment that he is detained and stopped from proceeding, He has to be given a reason about why he is being detained. The officer is responsible to tell him, and if he does not, then he is officially under arrest. Officer is required to tell him why he is being detained, and the officer will make a statement. You're not under arrest. I am detaining you because you are acting erratic, and I need to go ahead and investigate and keep the peace. I'm removing you from a volatile situation because I believe you're acting erratically and you're putting people in jeopardy with what you're doing. Now, whether that's right or not, the officer is absolutely responsible for saying that. Now, tell me if I'm crazy or I'm wrong, or does somebody disagree with me? Olivia, read the comments too. Leroy?
Leroy, go.
No, I think you actually, I mean, maybe I didn't word it correctly, but it sounded like you said mostly what I said.
No, he didn't give him a reason for detainment.
Well, we also didn't. We weren't really close enough to hear. Did that guy? Maybe I missed it.
Yeah. We'll
did
go back
he
and watch
ask him why are you putting cuffs on me?
No, but he does. Okay, you're not hearing me. The moment that you put cuffs on another person, it is the officer's responsibility to educate him why he is stopping and detaining him. That is the responsibility to notify of the police department. It's not his job to ask. Just like it's his responsibility to say, I'm going to put you in this back of the squad car. You're not under arrest, but I'm putting you here for your and my safety. Or I'm going to lean you against the car, or I'm going to search your property. Is it okay if I do a willful search? Or do you willfully allow me to search you right now? Right. He has to walk him through the process and assume that he has never been or know his rights. That is what Miranda is entailed upon his job. His job is to tell him exactly what he is to do. Now let's listen to it real quick.
Well, here we are in Reading. We got a bunch of people coming from out of town to celebrate evil. It was a wonderful providence of God.
You're not listening to me. I didn't say detention. Detaining someone and arresting are two different things. I didn't say that. What I said was he did not notify him why he was being detained. And at that point, that man has every right to assume that he is under arrest. It is the officer's responsibility to tell him what is happening immediately. For example, okay, you're being stopped. You get pulled over by an officer. They tell you not to get out of the car. They don't give you instruction. Sir, turn off your engine, put both hands out of the window in the 10 and 2 position. Please do not make any sudden movements. Step out of the car with your left hand, or your right hand, reach across and open up the door. Open up the door and put your left foot out. Now your right foot. Now put both hands up in the air. Do not make any sudden movements. Stand up straight. Do not move. Do not face me. Slowly walk backwards. Sir, slowly walk backwards. And now stop. Get on your knees, lay face down, and spread eagle. So if the officer doesn't do that and pulls that person over and on the loud horn says nothing, and that civilian does not proceed in that way, and then they decide to draw weapons and open fire and kill him, who's wrong?
The police.
The police. They are responsible for handling the situation and notifying why they are stopping and give them instruction. If they do not do that and they put him in handcuffs and do not tell him why, that person officially will assume that they are under arrest. It is the officer's responsibility to tell them why they're being detained. If they are not, they are breaking the law. Period. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Listen to what he says.
Driving with.
You know who's cheering for us? The people that are in.
The law went out. The gospel
Here you
went
go.
out.
Now let's listen.
God's going to do work with it. He's apparently a professing Christian, too. That's the horrible thing about this. Looks like some more men just showed up to support us. This cop's going to give him a hard time.
Okay, people aren't listening. I've been put in cuffs but not arrested. You're not listening to me. Did the officer tell you why he was putting you in cuffs? Yes. If he does not tell you why you are being detained, because the first question that any normal human being has when cuffs are being put on is, am I under arrest? I know because I just did it 7 months ago. No, you're not under arrest. I'm detaining you for the following reason. If that reason was not given, it is then at that point there is a stay of execution on the reason of why you're being detained or arrested. The moment he puts him in cuffs, it's the officer's responsibility to tell him why. Mr. Smith, I'm putting you in cuffs right now because of A, B, and C. You are not under arrest. I am detaining because I am conducting an investigation because of this reason. He has no reason to put him in cuffs without a reason. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? I did not hear a reason on the video. You tell me if he did.
You don't have to say you don't care. I don't. Guys, let them have their this is public.
He's saying let them have their day. He has not said anything yet. He has not provided an ultimatum. He has not told him to cease and desist. He is telling him, let them talk and let them have their day. That's what he's saying. Respect them by having his thumb hiked back, pointing at the the people gathered for Pride. Respect them.
I'm respecting them.
And he says, I will respect them. The guy in the hat, and he points to his sign. Says, I'll respect them.
You know who's cheering for us? The people that are in hell.
Jesus said, I am the way, the truth.
So you do you, and I'm going to do me.
And the life. Then he says to him,
do you,
you
and
do
I'm gonna
you,
do me.
You do
That part I
you,
got.
I'm going to do me. You know who is cheering the people in hell or whatever he says.
This is public property. You. God is not. That's all.
He says, this is public property. And he says, dude,
Right.
God is, that's all he says. God is. He says nothing else.
Right.
He could say God is good, God is gracious, God is watching you, God loves you, God is the Almighty. He could say a lot of things. Now watch.
God, this one, your brother.
Getting this on film.
Can I give him my bag while it stuffs him?
Can I give him my bag? No, you may not.
Yo, I'm gonna need you to go to 128 North.
He even asked about the backpack.
Hold on,
being
we
taken
can't
off.
hear if we're talking, everybody. Can't hear if we're talking. Says, I don't, and then he grabs him, jerks him again.
Yeah.
Could be, I don't understand, I don't know, I don't, I don't, the guy's obviously asking a question. I don't something. So I don't know why I'm being arrested. I don't know why. The officer is responsible at that point to tell him what he is doing and why. Because if this man fights, should he? He has not been given a lawful order. Without lawful order, he cannot assume the intent of the officer. He is being held against his will with no reason as to why.
And they're clapping. Brothers, man.
I cannot believe I'm watching this.
Then God is not the author. And he jerks him around and
Right.
pulls him around. At no time in any way, shape, or form has he stated why he is detained or why he is under arrest. Now he's keying the cuffs. So what he's doing, he's pulling out the key and he's putting it in the back of the hole to lock the cuffs so they don't accidentally tighten up on him too much. Standard procedure. The officer's doing everything he's been trained to do except give him the reason, a lawful order of and why he is detaining him.
You got it? Yep. Yeah, they're threatening us earlier.
Sir, it's tight.
Sir, it's tight, sir. Sir, it's tight is what he says. First of all, handcuffs are supposed to be tight. They're not supposed to be comfortable. They're not a bracelet and they're not a ring. They're supposed to hurt. That's the way handcuffs work. So, tough shit.
I can't believe this is in Reading. I can't believe this is in Reading.
First Corinthians 6:9.
Now, at this point, he's got two other officers. Nobody goes into their radio. Dispatch, I've got a 326. I've got a blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He doesn't, I don't know what the code terms. He doesn't call in and explain what's happening. He's required to do that. At this point, there has been no notification of why he's being arrested. I've listened to the officer. I've got it in my headphones. There's nothing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get started. My name is Enrique Castro. I'm the Executive Director of Grand Pride Celebration. And it is my
God
honor
bless you,
today
brother.
to wish you all a happy Pride Month.
So there's also something about public display or interfering with a police officer's job. It's obstruction, essentially. So, for instance, if someone has pulled over a person for an illegal traffic stop who cut you off 3 miles up the road, and you drive by and you honk your horn and you're like, fuck you, he got you, buddy, ha, ha, ha. You can actually be arrested. So you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to interfere with a police officer. You're not allowed to antagonize someone who's under arrest or under investigation. So by that guy sitting there and doing that over the PA and them all clapping and celebrating him, those officers have every right to walk over there and tell them to stop, and they're impeding with his investigation. None of this has happened in any way, shape, or form.
It's also my honor to thank you for making history with us today as we celebrate the first.
He's the superior. He's the sergeant on scene, guys. Everyone's like, well, those other two are probably trainees or whatever. They're shadowing him. They were corporals. He's a sergeant. He's a supervisor.
This is an unjust arrest. We have it on film.
Not only the city of Bragg, but Bucks County. If you go between here and
All right, so I've now steamrolled Leroy enough, and now and rolled over the top of him. I want him to make his comment clear, and so I understand what he's trying to say. I apologize if you felt I was trying to steamroll you. Go ahead.
No. No, and I'm glad we got to listen to it again. I stand by what I said. You can put somebody in cuffs and detain them. I never heard, and he may very well have said it. It's just that it could have been drowned out. My point was that I never heard him say you're under arrest. Up to that point, I'm kind of assuming that he was arrested, but was he, or was he just detained, dragged around the corner, and said, "Get the hell out of here"? Okay, so he wasn't. That's fine. He wasn't. I believe he was cited with a public disturbance. So he was charged. So he was arrested. At no time did I hear his rights being given to him. And obviously, at no time did he explain to him why he was being put in the handcuffs. Here it is: arrested or detained. In general, if a reasonable person in the suspect's shoes wouldn't feel free to leave an encounter with the police, then there's been either a detention or an arrest. Determining which can be tough and sometimes crucial. Suppose, for instance, that an officer has reasonable suspicion to detain someone, but not probable cause to arrest them. In the course of the encounter, the officer discovers incriminating evidence. In this situation, if the defense attorney persuades the court that instead of merely detaining her or him, the officer arrested the suspect without probable cause, then the evidence may be inadmissible in court. Sometimes it's clear someone is under arrest, for instance, when the officer specifically says so and then handcuffs the person. But not all situations are that clear, because it can mean the difference between the incriminating evidence being admitted or not in a case the judge may have them decide. Scope of restraint, brief or significant. An officer's brief and cursory holding of and questioning of someone is a detention. An example is a cop stopping someone who is behaving suspiciously in order to ask a question. The suspect isn't free to leave, but he also isn't under arrest, at least until the officer develops probable cause. Another common example is an officer pulling over a driver for some kind of traffic or equipment violation. An arrest, on the other hand, involves the police taking someone into custody through a more significant restraint of movement. Yeah. The quintessential example involves the use of handcuffs and an advisement that the suspect is under arrest or why they are being detained. He is not allowed to put him in cuffs. Now, if he says, "Am I under arrest?" the officer will then say, "No. However, I am putting you under detainment." Why am I being detained? I'll tell you that in a minute. For first, I am going to get you in handcuffs for my safety and yours. None of that took place, y'all. What just happened was an illegal detainment or an illegal arrest because he did not notify him why and give him a lawful order of to why he was being detained with probable cause. Please understand, it is a very fine line. The officer, when that suspect does not ask, it is his responsibility to tell him why he is stopping him, why he is detaining him, or why he is arresting him. If anybody wants to challenge that, please let me know.
Maureen wants to call in, if possible.
Maureen, call. You don't have to ask. Just do it.
No, I told her to hang tight because you were watching the rest of the video. So I just want to let you know.
Call in.
Maureen, call in.
Call in. I'm waiting. Call in, Maureen. Let's get to it. Keon says, I read the affidavit, totally one-sided. I'd love to read the arresting report. Now I'm going to go look it up because I want to know what he did for a public disturbance, because he can't.
I would like to know that too.
He didn't say anything. He did nothing. This guy owns it. Now that they arrested him, this guy owns this department. He can sue. He should sue, and he should receive a nice little lump sum of money from the department, because it's an illegal arrest. There is no reason to cite him. If he got so much as a parking ticket, he should fight it tooth and nail. Collective says, now Matt wants to jump on the cops are too harsh bandwagon. What a stupid comment. What a dumb, irrational comment. I never said they were too harsh. I said they broke the law. They went against his rights. I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. Do you know how many police officer shows I've done and how many I've supported in shootings and justifiable shootings? These officers acted irrationally. They should have asked him to be removed from the situation. They should have asked for his permit. When he did not provide one, they should have given him a verbal warning. You need to stop. You are not permitted to go ahead and counter this protest or this grouping. You're breaking the law. You need to stop. You are making an unreasonable domestic disturbance because you are not permitted to do so. If you do not stop, I will detain you, and it could lead up to your arrest. You get to decide what you want to do. He didn't do that. He simply arrested him and put him in handcuffs and detained him without probable cause. You're wrong, and your comment is not only completely devoid of any reasoning, it's completely fucking stupid. No offense.
What you just
We-
said
well,
is one of the most
to add on-
insanely
Hold on.
idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Oh, Billy Madison.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I knew that one would come in handy.
All right.
I
Leroy,
love
go
that
ahead.
one.
Leroy, go ahead.
It's not unlike when we've talked about politicians in the past, specifically one Donald J. You know, when a group or when a person does something that is appropriate, we recognize that. And when they do things that are inappropriate, we recognize that and call it out. It's not that there's a hypocrisy there. We're seeing something that occurred where they clearly overstepped their power. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, and collective, I'm just busting balls. I'm just right back at you. I'm not offended. I'm not pissed off. I'm not upset. What I'm telling you is your rights are extremely important, and you have a right for free speech. The officer should have educated the citizen at that point as to what law he was breaking and give him a warning. Now, if he walked out and pulled out a gun and started firing, he doesn't have to say, sir, stop firing your weapon, because that is completely different. He was on a public street. He was voicing his concern, and he had a right to detain him based upon him not being permitted. But he doesn't know if he has a permit because he never asked him. Do you have a permit? Please show me your paperwork for forming a counter protest against this event. I don't have one. And he doesn't need one because he's not in the street. He's on a public sidewalk. He has every right to be on that public sidewalk. He has every right to say what he wants to say. And unless he is violently threatening people or saying something that is inappropriate in a public setting and showing some sort of irrational behavior or whatever, he has every right to do what he's doing. Maureen, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about?
I looked at a couple of articles, and he was charged with disorderly conduct or criminal disorderly conduct.
Wow.
Because he got too loud and it constituted heckling a permitted and planned event.
Yeah, bullshit.
That's what they're going with.
He's gonna crush. He's gonna crush those cops. He's gonna crush that. He's gonna make a shit ton of money.
All he would have to say, that's easily defeatable, because all he would have to say is, look, they were using bullhorns. I had to yell so that you could understand me.
Now,
by them being loud,
yeah,
is me to be loud.
Yep. Now, real quick, I want to. This is a great conversation. I love this. It's a great time. I'm not trying to shut anybody down. My mind can be changed. Tina makes a great point. Police are notified about permitted events beforehand. That's right. But unless they're given, what about a discretionary permit? Tina, what about if they're filed for a permit that did not come through the night before or wasn't done at morning briefing that was given earlier in the day, and it's to counteract this? Sometimes permits get held up. So there's this. They should at least ask him, "Do you have a permit?" Or What was he specifically doing that was breaking the law? Maureen, what's your take on this? Was this guy breaking the law?
No, I don't think he was. And when did heckling become against the law?
Yeah, you should be able to do that. You could arrest the New York Yankees, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they said that they wish that the waters would get a little higher in Houston, so since Altuve is so short that he would drown. They said that to him in the playoffs. So he should have all those Yankees fans arrested when they threw beer on
Hinch.
the wife of
Hinch.
on Hinch's wife, and who was the general manager. Or they heckled her. They should go ahead and be able to sue them. When people heckle Donald Trump, it's ridiculous, folks. This is bullshit. This is not going to stick. It's going to be thrown out of court. The guy can sue. He should sue, and it's ridiculous. 100%.
He absolutely should sue.
All right. We're going to hold on one second. I like this better, by the way. I can already tell you. I want to see that. Can I just look at this in like 10 minutes? Yeah. I love you. It's beautiful. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and put a button on this. Leroy, I'm not trying to jump on you. This is something that's really, really important to me. And I am not a First Amendment auditor. I believe that officers should have as much discretion as they possibly can to do their job, and they should be given as much leeway within the confines of the law. But the moment that you circumvent somebody's First Amendment right because you don't like what they're saying, and you obviously have a lesbian officer there who was probably offended, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. You don't get to use your badge as a weapon to silence people just because you don't like what they say. That's
dude. I'm on your fucking side. I think my biggest gripe was the fact that I couldn't hear anything, and I do know that there is a difference between detaining someone and arresting them. And because I couldn't hear him say you're under arrest for whatever reason, up to that point I'm kind of assuming. I mean, I see the guy in the handcuffs, but I was assuming that they arrested him, but did they? That was my point. That they're two different things, and I didn't know what was going on necessarily.
Yeah, even if you're being detained, you have to be told why you're being detained, right? The officers have to, like, if it's a fight, they don't have to tell you shit. They have to stop the threat. They have to stop the law being broken. The moment that he was put in handcuffs, the breaking of the law was done. They are responsible to notify him. It's all has to do with Fourth and Fifth Amendments. It all has to do right to speedy trial, habeas corpus, Mirandizing people, and you can't illegally detain someone without probable cause. It can never happen. A cop just can't walk up to you and say, I'm putting you in handcuffs because I want to. No, you have to have probable cause. If you pulled him over for smoking marijuana, but you hit him with a broken taillight and you found the marijuana in an illegal stop, that is an illegal detainment by law.
Chamber?
It's absolutely well, that wasn't Star Chamber, was it?
I think it was, wasn't it? Oh, no. That was the cop who was just like, I think I smell marijuana. Yeah.
He did that. Okay, you're right. He did. He made that up. But my point is, if you find an illicit or illegal crime in a falsifiable illegal detainment or without probable cause, what you find out, any good trial lawyer is going to throw that shit out because it's
absolutely.
It's an
I didn't say it was right. I was just trying to sort out.
But we're here to educate people, and I want to educate people that if anyone stopped like that, the first thing you need to say, am I under arrest?
Exactly.
You say those the moment that he stops you and puts you in cuffs. If he says, please put your hands behind your back, put your hands by your side and stay here and talk to me, you're not being detained like that. You're being questioned, and he's doing an interrogation or he's doing an investigation. An interrogation and investigation are two different things. The moment he interrogates you, if you don't have your Mirandized rights, you're light up like a Christmas tree. If he is doing an investigation and you're a part of that investigation, he's asking you to stay there. He has every right to do that if he has probable cause. That is the key. He has to have it. Maureen, what am I missing? Hold on a second.
Yeah. I don't think you are missing anything. I just called in because there was a debate of whether he was arrested or not, so I went and looked it up.
Well, here's what Keong said.
I was just going to say that.
Go ahead, read it. Read it, Olivia. Read what Keong said.
It says, quote from affidavits, because I had already given him warnings, I immediately told him he was being arrested for disorderly conduct. Officer Dupree and I handcuffed him, escorted him away from the location, awaiting transport to central processing. Oh, they're screwed.
They're in trouble.
They're so
he only given him one warning. He may have given the other guy 6 warnings, but that one we only saw one warning.
Karen,
and it's not even a warning.
He didn't give him a warning. I listened to the whole thing in my headphones. There was absolutely no warning. And if there was,
I didn't hear it
the
either.
officer should be the loudest and most commanding voice out of that group. Period. The megaphone was not going on. The other crowd was silent. They were listening. And then Karen Klein. Karen, do you ever agree with anything I say? Goes, I'm always skeptical of viral videos because they only show a portion of the interaction. I don't see anything to warrant an arrest, but I have questions. You're the liberal, and I'm defending you, and I'm defending the other side here. And you're like, well, I don't know, Matt. Karen, I can't win with you. I just realized that you hate men. Okay, so.
Well, there's playing devil's advocate.
Always. You know what happens when you play
quick-
devil's... Hold on. They have another name for that when you play devil's advocate. You're being a jackass. You don't always need to argue every point just to argue the point. Go ahead, Leroy. Love you, Karen.
Well, there's 2 quick points. One is that for all of the dummies out there, if you are ever detained / arrested, the first thing, to Matt's point, you should do is ask, am I being arrested?
Yeah,
and then
I'm
if
under
you
arrest.
are, shut the hell up.
Yeah. I
Do
want to
not
exercise
say
my First Amendment
another
rights.
word. Point number 2, from Kyung, where it says, because I had already given him a warning and I had already told him that he was being arrested for disorderly conduct. If that cop was issuing a warning in the midst of all of that noise, it is very conceivable that our arrestee didn't hear it. And which also, again, proves it goes to the side of the person who was arrested, as if to say it was an unlawful arrest.
Yeah, and listen, that guy's on camera, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. That officer knew he was on... Sorry, Maureen, I lost you.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm coming back. He knew he was on camera, and if I was that police officer, I would ensure that camera picked up what I said, because they're going to lose it based on that evidence, because the defense lawyer is going to say he didn't say anything. And if he did, why is he whispering? If he's ashamed of what he's doing, he should be open up front, and he should also be warning the rest of the crowd. There is something law by classroom. There's teaching by classroom, and officers teach. They sometimes are very, very quiet. They want to respect the person, but if they have multiple people doing something that's wrong, there's no reason for them to be circumspect. That officer should have said, all of you who are, you're being warned right now. If you protest against this without a legal permit, you will be detained and will be arrested. Here's why. Here's the accordance. Here's the actual code, city code. That's it. And give them a warning. There was no warning given, period. He did not warn the guy. He just said, that's it. Honestly, that's an emotional response. Right, sir, you just broke, city code ordinance 05.326. I'm detaining you, and I'm going to remove you from the premises. And if you continue to resist or continue to protest, you will be placed under arrest. End of story. That's it. That's it. The cop got a butt hurt. He didn't like it. Go ahead, Maureen.
I'd like to see the body cam footage from the officers.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, I bet you $100 it wasn't on, because I watched for that. I didn't see him turn it on. So I did not see any motion of him turning it on in any way, shape, or form. Now, it could have happened before, but usually there's no reason to turn it on. Especially, you know what the officer will say? There wasn't a reason to turn this on. This was just this was a simple nothing. This was a conversation that should have resulted in a warning, and then it would have ceased. It's not like it's a traffic stop. It's not like it's a drug bust. It's not like he was breaking a crime. There was no crime there.
Yeah, they were anticipating trouble. That's why he jumped all over this.
Well, he wanted trouble. There's a difference. Anticipating and wanting are two different things, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, come on. So, listen, these are Christian people. I mean, for God's sakes. Now, if they were, the guys in the South, what are they called? The one who protested the gay funerals.
Baptist?
Oh.
No, not Baptist. There's a specific.
Oh, what are
Presbyterian?
No.
Dude, no. Stop it.
It's not one of the mainstream religions. It's that church.
I know, but it's not a denomination of religion. They're just a bunch of crazy freaking nut jobs who go around and pretend like they're God-fearing people who protest dead soldiers. And I don't remember the name of them, but
I know who you're talking
I don't know
about.
that one.
I know, but you're like Baptist? Mormons? No. And by the way, someone said Mormons are Christians. Everything's Christian. It doesn't mean they're Christian. Give me a break. I mean, I'm not saying that Mormons aren't Christian. I'm just trying to tell you is that there's so many different denominations that everything is essentially Christianity. Come on.
Maureen, do you remember their name?
No.
Just put Southern. It's not Southern Baptist, but put Southern Baptist. That the South Baptist Church. That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Karen, wait, does Karen butt hurt? No, Karen doesn't
No.
get butt hurt. There's no way. Hold on. Matt, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying I don't have enough information to agree or disagree. I actually agree with a lot of what you said for this video. Yeah, but you usually don't, Karen. You know, come on. I mean, you usually don't. Let's be honest. Everyone knows, Karen, that you and I have a tumultuous love-hate relationship. I love you. You hate me. It's obvious. It's just all right. Now, there's one thing we didn't get into the news show. Olivia is sick and she doesn't feel well and she wants to go. Maureen, stay right here. I got you on camera because we want to say goodbye to you, but I want to make sure I show. What's great about this is I can just do this tomorrow. This is really quick. Department of Justice, specifically in Georgia or Florida, the DOJ is going to indict Donald Trump next week. This is all over the press, and Mark Meadows is rolling over on him. He's going to testify to the grand jury for his immunity. It's already out. This is really important. I've done a lot of digging on this. I want to show you the Clinton Library secret files, tens of thousands of top secret documents that Bill Clinton declassified when he had absolutely no right to declassify. A president cannot declassify SCI and top secret documents without going through proper channels with the DOJ, the DOD, and also NARA. He didn't do that. Bill Clinton did this, and he should be arrested and indicted as well as Obama, as Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden all had to done the same thing. I walked this through you. I've got the video, and I've also got the Presidential Records Act, which I want to walk you through. I will do this tomorrow, probably as a show, but it's all here for you. And I wanted to make sure you didn't feel slighted that I didn't cover this topic tonight. We got into some heavy conversation.
And I want to be able to focus on that because that's a heavy topic. And
no, she doesn't. She wants to play Diablo. Don't let her lie
seriously,
to you.
I'm starting to get dizzy and I'm trying to focus and I can't read the comments right now.
Did you hear what she said? She wants to fuck us, and I'm always about doing the fuck us.
I want to go do.
So I want to be honest with you. And Christine just asked an amazing question, and I just got your name right, Miss Klug, is who's going to pardon who? And I think that's ultimately what we need to be asking ourselves, because with Biden, when he gets out, they're going to go after him. They're going to indict him. They're going to go after him. And for his files, they're going to go after Pence. They're going to go after Clinton. They're going to go after Obama. This is free reign on anyone who's done this. And they're politicizing this with Trump. And I'm letting you know, I promise you this. I'm putting my word on it. I'm putting my stamp on it. You can guarantee it. The moment Biden is done being president, the Republican are going to go after him. They're going to indict his ass. I promise you, this is all being set up. Just like with Trump, they rang the bell, but they couldn't do anything because as the president, he cannot be charged with criminal acts. He has to be impeached, removed, and then charged. They're not going to do that. Nobody's going to do that to Biden. They're going to go after him, and they're going to go after him heavy. They're also going to go after Obama. They're going to go after Clinton, and this is going to be raining hellfire. I want to walk you through this. We'll do that tomorrow. I hope you enjoy it. That's my minute. I'm going to hand it to Maureen because I love her and I haven't seen her in a long time. Maureen, your 1 minute is yours now. Go.
Know your rights, but know when to shut up.
So did you hear what she said, guys? She said, Matt, know when you're right, just know when to shut up. And I thought that was very rude. Shouldn't have said that to me. Not cool.
Know your rights with an S.
I know you did. Maureen, it's good to hear from you. I love your cat. I love you. I love you calling in. You're one of my favorite people on the planet. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, kiddo. See you soon. Leroy, go ahead and give it to me, man. What do you got?
Wow.
Bye, Maureen.
It was a fun show, right? We covered raccoons and we covered fires and we covered people being arrested for basically just walking around on the sidewalk with a sign. You know, of everything that we talked about tonight, and for all of the dummies who are watching who think that, you know, Matt comes down on me, you got to understand, folks, this is what we do. We're going to go back and forth a bunch of times. But
did somebody honestly, say I come down on you?
What?
Did somebody say I come down on you?
Yeah, somebody did.
Who said I come down on you? I'm interested to know.
I thought you said that.
No, I said that I come down on everybody who I disagree with, and it's not coming down from a hard standpoint. I disagree with you, and we disagree all the time, and most of the time we agree. And
that's what makes the show great.
Go ahead, Leroy. You finish.
Well, that was my point. That was my point, which was that, you know, we disagree all the time. It's not a big deal. That's what we're supposed to be able to do. We're supposed to be able to have those conversations. And, you know, if we can meet in the middle, it's going to be a good show. You know what I mean? That being said, I really like the raccoon, and now I want a donut. And I'm hoping that when I go outside tomorrow, that the sky is in orange, and that I'm not subjected to seeing anybody else cry on their personal media page, because I'm just going to burst out into more laughter.
That was pretty good. You know what they should say is, New York, the sky is orange because Trump 2024.
Oh my God.
So,
would that be
amazing? They dye the river green for St. Patrick's Day. We're dyeing the sky orange because of Trump. I just want to take another 10 seconds. 10 seconds, and then I'm going to hand it over, punt to Olivia. I don't come down on Leroy at all, because I want to be clear. And I've never said this, and I'm just going to let it out of the bag. Everything that Leroy said, I agree with. But that's not my job. My job isn't to sit there and go, "You're right, Leroy." My job is to sit here and say, "No, it's not." My job is to challenge Leroy, because shut the fuck up, Leroy. is because Leroy is not an equal. He's superior in many ways when it comes to his understanding, his patience. So when he says something that I think not only is controversial but wrong, I'm going to do whatever I can to get in there, because it doesn't happen enough. And Leroy and I don't. That's it. We don't disagree. I don't disagree with him enough. And when there's an opportunity, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go hard, because that's the way that guy taught me in that video. He cried. He goes hard, and I'm going to go hard for my people. So I go hard for Leroy, folks. That's just the way it is.
That was more than 10 seconds, just so you know.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't know 10 seconds if it slapped you in the face, okay? Because I haven't given you 10 seconds since we were 20. Go ahead.
So Amy Stancombe just had a good comment. Said the 11th commandment, do unto Biden as others have done unto Trump. I thought that was very clever.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It's very clever.
Very, very clever.
People are saying they're not going to go after Biden. Folks, I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand what they're doing to Trump. It's not going to be senators.
Amy, I'm going to steal that.
These are DAs that are going to go after Trump. These are people who Trump put into play, or going after Biden. They're the people who are Trump loyalists. They will absolutely. You don't think there's people like Bragg out there for Trump? Watch. They're going to get Biden. I promise you. They may not charge him with anything. He may not go to jail, but they're going to hunt him like they're doing it to Trump. This is now the precedent. I'm telling you right now, if you, the rumblings I'm hearing is that it's an open season on Biden, and it should be. I don't think it should be open season on Trump. I think presidents should absolutely. I think they should all pardon each other. The moment they get in a term is pardon your predecessor, because I think this is bullshit. Honestly, it is. Unless there's a real crime committed.
It makes the office look bad.
It does.
It's ridiculous.
Olivia, take us out with a smart word.
A smart word?
Yeah.
Smart?
Good.
Okay. The Nuggets are beating the Heat right now.
I know. I can't wait to go watch. Folks, do me a favor. Listen, before we go, I want 1 minute. I want an honest to God truth. What do you guys think of the new format? What do you think of the new screen, how we present it? You're not going to hurt my feelings, but I felt like the show had a better flow. It stayed on topic. It was more robust, more information, not just the website, but videos and pictures, things like that. I want to get your thoughts on just give me a quick high level 1 minute view of what you thought about the new format and the layout.
Able to stay on topic because you weren't searching for videos, and then the sound didn't work, and so you had to fumble with that, and then so it kept you on topic more, and it flowed better. We're able to just go right into the other stuff and not have to have filler while you're searching for stuff. So okay. I liked it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what I like the most. I like you too, and I love you guys being on the show. I missed Amy tonight. Leroy, I hope it was easier for you tonight. Olivia and I didn't argue. It was smooth. We were prepared.
We argued earlier, so it's okay. We got that out of our system.
It's not true. Olivia has her new light. She looks illustrious. She looks fantastic. We're getting our new recliner chairs for downstairs tomorrow so we can play Diablo and kick our feet up like old people. We're very much excited. Folks, do me a favor. Please stop by the Donut and Friendly Show at thedumbshow.com. It would mean a great deal. Leroy, I love you. Appreciate you. Thanks for being on tonight.
Right, Leroy.
Tomorrow or Friday, we're going to talk about Ukraine. We're going to talk about the dam. We're going to bring that in there. We'll put it all together. Okay, buddy?
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Leroy. Love you, buddy.
All right, folks.
Bye.
Dummies. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Peace out. Folks, tonight, the show is brought to you by Leroy, Olivia, myself, and Amy is not here, but she will be here Friday night, hopefully, and can't wait to see her. Thanks for watching the show. Do me a favor, go over to thedumbshow.com. You can catch all the catalog videos and the recorded shows. I did not have a recorded show today. I'm doing one tomorrow. I'm doing one Friday. I'm doing one this weekend. I'm sorry. It's just been getting crazy, but we can't wait to see you guys Friday night. And then remember, I'll have a recorded show tomorrow. This show is brought to you by PFC Flags, Purcellville Flag Company, the best wooden flag company out of Purcellville, Virginia. My good friends Jason and Katie make some beautiful flags. You see them behind us on the show. They're all made in the United States, 100% American-made materials. Go over there. Also, 22 veterans commit suicide a day. Please do me a favor. Remember our veterans. I'm going to show you a little quick video. Watch this and provide the number to a veteran if you think they need help. Might be on tomorrow. Olivia needs a night of rest. I don't think we will be. We'll see you Friday, and I'll have a recorded show tomorrow. Good night.
There you go.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call.
Everyone's hearing us. Hi, guys. Red Friday on Friday.